afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News Second Edition. I'm your host, GTG, and let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you guys back to November of 2016. An interesting piece of history, if you will, when DSP basically came out of his face when things weren't going his way on a particular Pokemon stream, which caused him to lash out, and he got a pretty good amount of backlash. One of those main pieces of backlash, or criticism, or whatever you might want to call it, was by Rich from Review Tech USA. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have been following the main channel, you guys know that I've been speaking about Rich a little bit lately, so I've actually already referenced this video. Now we're going to go over it. So this is something that's going to be par for the course. I'm going to now paint the entire picture for you, and you can kind of see the whole circumstance. Now, let me go ahead and frame it for you. Let's go ahead and set the canvas up, if you will. Not framing it, but set the canvas up. DSP was on a Pokemon stream. After the stream ended, he said it was a great stream, he had a good time, yada yada yada, and decides to look down onto the view counter to see how many people he had on stream. Saw less than 400 people and started to basically freak out and say that his viewers were lazy because they weren't coming out and supporting the streams. They weren't coming out and supporting the games that he was having fun playing. Turned into an entire mess. The video clip gets spread around by the detractors, because of course it would. Rich from Review Tech USA ends up catching a whiff of it, and ends up sending Phil a tweet in the middle of the night and or early morning later on that week. And Phil gets butthurt about it because Phil said he didn't have time to respond to it because the tweet was sent to him at a time where he was sleeping. Last time I checked, Twitter was basically up and running 24 hours a day, which is the internet itself. So why the hell would he be prefaced to send it to you at a time that you're up and moving? Like, it was almost like he was like, oh, it was almost like Phil was like, oh, you got a complaint? Oh, come back during normal business hours. And then you can make that complaint. Don't do the complaint when I can't address it. That's not fair. Very ridiculous, I know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into this piece of lore. Hope you guys like it. And as we continue our active trend on bringing you guys the funnies, so to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the King of Hate vlogs. Let's see here. Reality versus Did You Hear? An Apology. November 20th of 2016. Should be fun stuff. Give me a minute to set up. I'll see you guys in a sec.
What's going on, everyone? Darksydephil here with a special vlog. Not planning, obviously, to film this one. It wasn't anything that was on my schedule or that I thought was going to be something that I was going to be discussing publicly again so soon. But I do feel that a few things have happened that in the past few days / week, that there's been some developments in regards to my business, in regards to my live streaming. There's been some things that I've said that maybe either I didn't mean to say them that way and I didn't express myself properly the way that I said them, for example, on a pre-stream or on a post-stream this week. And, you know, sadly what ends up happening is when I say something maybe the wrong way or not how I intended to mean it, or not really what I was trying to say. You know, I'm a real human here, and I make mistakes, and I can't always express myself in the way that I want to perfectly 100% of the time. Duh! I mean, you could probably go back over the 8 years I've been on YouTube and find about 4 million examples where I said one thing, and then afterwards I was like, oh shit, well I actually meant to say this, or no, really it's more like this. But when I was saying something on the fly, I didn't necessarily say it in a way that was the best way to say something, especially if it's in a way that doesn't hurt people or insult people, right? But what happens is you've got people who literally sit here, and I'm not kidding you, right now they're doing it right now, as this video is going live on YouTube. They're sitting here and they're analyzing every little thing that I possibly say to find something, somewhere where I slipped, somewhere where I might have said something in a bad way, or maybe a way that doesn't necessarily 100% make sense, or may be something that's inflammatory to some people or insulting to some people, and that's what they focus on, right? Not the 99% of the other part of the discussion that's been going on, but that 1% where I said something that may have been a bad way to say something, okay?
Now, it's funny. One, what good is a carpenter without his instruments? Just putting that out there. I mean, you know, you know what I'm saying? I need my tools for my trade, right? Two, why do you have two headsets in, like, why do you need two headsets out at once? I don't understand that. And if you're not using one, how about you be a fucking grown-ass adult and put one away? That's the next thing. Third, how are you so goddamn broke and or cheap that you couldn't actually get a Deadpool mask that will cover your complete and total ugly face? Why did you only get one that partially covered your face? I don't understand that. I never really did. I never really did. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the King of Hate Vlogs. Let's see. Reality versus Did You Hear? An Apology. November 20th of 2016. Now, let's go ahead and start carving this up. First things first. How do we go from... you have a bunch of these people who are sitting here analyzing me and taking the 1% of things that I say out of context, out of the 99 things that is said in the conversation, right? That's what he just said. But prior to that, he said that if you look back at my 8 years, I've said like 4 or 5 million things that were out of place, and went back later and was like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have said that. But did he address all of those? No, he didn't. He only addressed them if someone caught it. And if one person caught it, they got dismissed. If a shitload of them caught it, then he had a problem. Now, everybody's normal. Well, everybody's human, if you will. We're all going to make mistakes. The thing is about Phil is that wasn't a mistake that he made. He acted out of anger and out of spite, which is in his nature. That wasn't delusion. He didn't just lose his mind for a second. That's how he really felt, and that's what he said. Period. A man can own up to that. A child makes excuses. And that's the reality. And that's his situation. And he can be butthurt about it all he wants. But that's the truth. And being that you've had somebody who has a legacy, or who has built a legacy of shitting upon people, and then turning around and asking those same people for money day in, day out, you should expect someone to have something to say about it. One would think. One would surmise. But let's continue.
The reason I'm bringing this up is because this past whole month, there's been a ton of discussion around myself, around my YouTube channels, how to improve, how to make them more viable for the modern audience on YouTube. Because the bottom line is, for 8 years, I have primarily done raw video game playthroughs and raw video gaming Let's Play live streams on a daily basis, and it doesn't seem like that's cutting the mustard per se, alright?
It took you 8 years to figure that out? People were saying that to you like year 2 or year 3. You waited 8 years to start really listening to people, when you sat there and spent almost a decade defending it and saying, oh, this is my niche. This is what people expect of me. I can't change now. I don't want to go ahead and do the bells and whistles like everybody else. I don't want to be fake. I want to give you guys an authentic, real experience from a real gamer. These are things that he has said and has defended for years. Now all of a sudden his ass is in trouble, right? He's in trouble, and bigger people, right, with some clout or some influence, or just have bigger audiences that could actually hurt him. Now he wants to come out and start prefacing shit. Now he wants to go ahead and start explaining himself. Now he wants to start apologizing, so to speak. No, that's not how it's done. And this is the reason why people shit on you the way they do. It's very easy to take 15, 20 seconds and be like, you know what? I messed up. I apologize. But you don't want to do that. You want to make excuses. You want to hide like a coward. You know what I mean? And then when shit starts to really hit the fan, he wants to be a rat trying to escape the sinking ship. And it don't work that way, especially not online. It's bad enough if you know someone in real life who does that, in IRL. But online is worse, because you can't wipe all that away. But it took him 8 years to figure this out.
What I've noticed is a huge drop off in views. I can't explain it. It kind of came out of...
You can't explain it when you said the year before this that, oh, it was YouTube's fault. YouTube was changing algorithms. YouTube was going ahead and prioritizing the bigger YouTubers over yourself. And that's what was screwing things up. That's what was screwing up your business. That was screwing up the views on your channel. And that's what was hurting you. Now all of a sudden you don't know what it is. Because now you're come to the realization that the way you've been failing is failing. And now you want to try to fix it. But the funny thing is that only came about because other people picked up on what you said after that Pokemon stream. And it wasn't like you weren't looking at the views during that Pokemon stream. That shit was building up. And it was eating away. It was eating away at your ego. And that's why when he got to the end, you acted like, oh, all right, guys, great stream. This, that, and the third with the false positive bullshit. Let's see how many viewers that we had. Oh, shit, we didn't even make 400? What happened? What? And then we went into that whole pony show. No pun intended. Okay, a little bit. But let's continue. Let's hear more of the Pignosis, ladies and gentlemen. When it was strong, kinda, sorta. It was never really strong.
Nowhere, because the first half of this year was great. The first half of 2016 was amazing. Views were up. I have my new channel, KO Gaming, that was doing really well, and everything was going great. And then all of a sudden this summer...
And then you didn't capitalize on any of it and decided to go on staycations. Which is funny how he had the money. He spent about $3,000, you know, after it's all said and done on that staycation, but yet cried broke before he left and cried broke after he came back. Defiant sniff.
Literally out of nowhere, it didn't seem like there was any cause or effect relationship. It dipped massively and hasn't come back to anywhere near the levels where it used to be. So when I'm seeing something like that, I obviously have to appeal to my viewing audience and say, what's going on? Can you give me feedback? Can you give me suggestions for improvement? What exactly is happening? And
people give you feedback and give you suggestions on your forums and in your comment section all the time. And more often than not, they got shitted on or they got shadow banned. This isn't anything new. So why are we acting like we're brand new to this? What's wrong? Machinima isn't sitting there putting you in phone calls, asking you what the, telling you what the deal is, not spoon feeding you. Hey Phil, you need to change this. Hey Phil, you need to change that. And actually, matter of fact, that's a great point. It's funny how when Machinima sat his ass down and was having these conversations with him where, hey, you need to change this. Hey, you need to change that. You need more engagement. You need more interaction. And so whatever it is that you're doing, you need to stop. You need to start doing this. Which, let me go ahead and put that in the piggy translation. You need longer videos, and you need to probably stop moderating your chat. You need more people watching your video. You need them to watch it longer, and you need them to be engaged with it, which is not only likes and dislikes, but them commenting. Probably commenting multiple times. That's what you need. And Phil couldn't translate that into anything because he took that as a personal attack. He took that as, oh, you guys are saying I'm doing something wrong? No, fuck you. You guys are doing something wrong. You're the MCN. You're taking a cut of what is my money off of my talent. You fix the problem. But now look at him. Didn't even have the goddamn decency to shave. Just came up there looking like a goddamn bum. Wow. No wonder he couldn't satisfy Panda.
You know what? The bottom line is the majority of YouTubers wouldn't do that. The majority of YouTubers out there hide the business aspect of stuff. And you know what? I'm not saying that's wrong or that's right. I don't know. I can tell you that's not my style. As you guys and gals know, especially those who follow me in the long term.
So other YouTubers would hide that information about the business from you. But I don't know if that's right or I don't know if that's wrong. That's not my style. And that's why I tell you. But this is the same idiot that told us in the beginning of this video, ladies and gentlemen, that people microanalyze every little thing I say. And he says now that it's because of the information he divulged in the past, people use that against him. Well, you're begging for views. Yeah, people are going to use that against you. Because you had all the opportunities in the world, as well as all the time in the world, to bring your content up to where it needed to be. Where people thought it should be, or where they thought it could be. And you didn't want to do that. You wanted to keep doing things your way. And now look at you. All right.
I'm the kind of person that is completely transparent. I let you know about all the stuff kind of going on behind the scenes. I shared that with you because
because of all that sharing, and then it wasn't the sharing that fucked you though. It was the inconsistencies that you went ahead and peppered in each time you told the story is what screwed you over, which is what leads to the implications that you were lying. The first time he may have said it, it might have been honest. It might have been legit. There might have been some fluff here or there. There might have been some pig fat still left over that wasn't cut off the bacon. I'm known for doing that. My bad. I want to give you guys a quality product. But then later on down the line, it starts to smell a little funny. Like maybe he didn't close the refrigerator the night before completely. Maybe instead of finishing the bacon that was in the back of the refrigerator. No, let's give you another analogy. Instead of him finishing the turkey burgers that were already in the freezer, that were already open, he went ahead and bought a brand new pack. And then after he's all out of turkey burgers, he goes all the way to the back of his freezer. And now this shit has like freezer burn or something on it because it's been sitting back there so goddamn long because he bought so many other turkey burgers week in, week out that he forgot it was even back there. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? His lack of rotation, his lack of evolution, if you will, his lack of advancement with the work that's required behind it to make it happen is what hurt him, not people. Even when you think about the false copyright strikes and all that nonsense, that is what that is. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not a piggy Holocaust denier or anything like that. I'm not doing any of that. But what I'm saying is if you look at what led up to that situation, if he went ahead and put his hoof down and says, okay, you guys are right, I'm ready to listen, and then act upon that, he wouldn't have problems, especially as codependent as he is on the people who he needs to absorb the product so he can make his money. Just saying.
Really do feel that you, the viewer, are the person who's here on a daily basis, not only to watch my content and enjoy it, but also that's almost like an experience. This whole YouTube thing has been an organic experience between myself and my viewership that I really feel that being transparent has allowed you to feel like behind the scenes and be a part of it. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm better than anyone else. I don't feel like what I'm doing puts me on as an e-celebrity pedestal. And, a lot of people may say...
Even though you have said that I'm unique, I'm special, I'm different because I do certain things a certain way. And it's a shame that John's talent was overlooked. It's a shame that people don't see John for what he is, and because no one appreciates his content and they're not watching it and they're not supporting it, I'm not saying it word for word, I'm remixing it a little bit, that he can't do YouTube for a living like I am. He has to actually go and get a job. And that disgusts me. That disgusts me that someone with that type of talent and that vision has to go and get a job, right? Because people won't support his product. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the exception to the rules. I am the one in the million. I am the lucky one who is able to do this for a living and be successful. I'm sorry John couldn't, but I'm the successful one. You guys remember that? I remember that. Pepper's Farm remembers that. Tevin might remember it too. That's what this idiot said. Now we're sitting here saying that I'm not better than anybody else. I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm fucking unique. And so I'm not asking, basically what he's trying to say is, I'm not asking you guys for too much. I'm just asking you guys to support me so I can continue, in air quotes, to support my dream. Sorry, I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but you know how I do.
But Phil, you say all the time that your videos are better than everyone else who does Let's Plays. You know what? Again, that's just me not expressing myself well. Alright? I don't necessarily think that the way that I do videos is better or necessarily the only way to do it. I personally feel that doing a raw Let's Play is the best way to do it. That's my personal belief, because you don't get the one-sided fluff of editing out all the parts of the game that are boring, or editing out the fails of a game, right? Or only making the game look good because you're basically doing a paid PR advertisement, which, quite honestly, a lot of big gaming YouTubers, that's what they do because they're paid to do it. Alright? That's not what I do. That's never what I've done. That's not what I want to do, and that's not what I intend to ever do here on YouTube.
You're a fucking idiot to assume that everybody who puts out an edited piece of content is doing it because they're paid to do it, right? Or some part of a PR campaign is fucking ridiculous. At the end of the day, what happened is people like yourself, which is not even people like himself, ladies and gentlemen, it's really just him. He fucked the market in a very small way. He fucked the market. What happened is back when you could only do it the caveman style, you did it. But what happened is as they started to evolve, as the content started to evolve, as the quality started to evolve, and the commentary and everything else that went with it, Phil didn't want to evolve. What he looked at it as, okay, you guys are going to leave the pond. You guys are going to leave, or let's give you another reference. You guys are going to leave the pig pen. That's more mud and slop for me. So go ahead and get out. Then he got mad because some of his viewership left with it. So now, I used to get hundreds of thousands of views per video, which really wasn't the case. He was getting he may have hit almost 100,000 views the first couple of videos of a playthrough, and then a couple of videos towards the end of that playthrough. Everything else was dead weight. Everything else, you can actually see it. Everything else just trickles down from what was tens of thousands of views to a couple of thousand. That stretched on for like 60, 70, 80, 150 part playthroughs. That's what it came down to. And this idiot right here only sees what he wants to see. So when he looked at some of the stylized, edited stuff, because some of the bigger content creators, Toby Turner, iJustine, as well as others, when they did a particular video that was supposed to be a particular advertisement for a particular product, his dumbass automatically assumed, oh, that's all they do. Or he's the scummy piece of shit that I think he is, and he was like, oh, you do that for certain advertisements, well, I'm just going to tell my viewers that you do it for all of them so they don't watch you and they continue to watch me. And Phil's just as much of a scumbag to do so. And some of the very people who turned their back on Phil and later on became detractors, some of them, and this is all in small parts and small ways, were the same people who were just tired of being lied to. And when they saw the truth and they saw how things really work, they clapped back at him, as you're supposed to. That's the reality.
It seems like that's where YouTube is going when it comes to gaming videos. People want to see...
yeah, it wasn't going to stay stagnant forever. And yet again, that shows how stupid you are. That's the reason why you're in the financial straits that you're in now. This idiot literally thought it was going to stay between 2008 and 2013 for the rest of his life. And that's why he spended the way he spent. That's why he didn't save any money. That's why he kept borrowing and he kept borrowing and kept borrowing. Because he always thought he would make buku money and then he could throw the banks and everybody else scraps as he pays them back. At the end of the day, Phil is someone who obviously has a compulsion to expect people to give him money and then him either not pay it back or pay it back when it's convenient to him. He's not very good at coming through with his obligations. Project 7 is a great example of that. He took these people's money. No, he came up with a lie because he knew what people wanted because they kept asking him for it. You guys see this now. He came up with a lie, right? He gave them, no, let me give him a little bit of credit. He came up with a false promise and he fed it to them. He got all the money for it, and once all that money hit to its peak, right? Once all that money hit to his peak and something that he wanted to do, something that he was going to enjoy, something that he was going to spam his channel with came up, Street Fighter V, he was going to run off that. And he just expected people to take it. He expected people just to deal with it. Hey guys, I'm a Street Fighter. I used to be a former pro player in Street Fighter. I used to be I was fourth place once at Evo 2005 in some shitty ass port that people laugh at me about even to this very day. But at the end of the day, though, I'm a former pro player. I'm a lifelong Street Fighter guy. So with that being said, I'm gonna spam the fuck out of this, and I'm gonna try to relive my glory years through it. And you guys supposedly like me, and you guys appreciate what I do, so you guys will sit there and stand on the merit that you guys want to see me happy, and you'll sacrifice whatever enjoyment that you guys get personally to make sure I'm happy for it first, that I'm enjoying myself. That's what he expects. That's what he's always expected. It's this crazy assumption that because people like you, right, that they're just going to conform to what you want first before anything else. And that's just not how it works. Not and certainly not everybody's going to do that. But that's what he expects. He's basically a taker. He expects people to give, and he doesn't have to give anything back. Or if he does give it back, he overinflates it to make it seem like he really was thinking about you guys, or that he was really coming. It was really a burden to him, but you know he's doing it to show how much he appreciates you. And in actuality, that's furthest from the truth. It's just to keep them on the lure. You know what I'm saying? It's just to keep them engaged. And that's the reason why he lost Panda. That's the reason why he lost John and Howard. Because he didn't treat them like people. He treated them like objects. They were things to be had. And once you have it, you can do what you want with it. That's my property. And I'll do what I wish with my property. And if you don't like it, get out. And I'll replace you. And that's what Phil does. The only difference is you can't replace everybody. You can't replace everybody. DSP News.
Highly edited, highly polished gameplay videos where all the fails and all the boring stuff of the game is cut out. It's only non-stop entertainment. A joke here, fun commentary there, a funny part here, a funny fail there. And literally when you watch a let's play of a game, it's really not a let's play at all. It's more of a best of montage with all kinds of stuff in there that could be scripted. Now I know there's some people who don't do scripted stuff and they still find a way to do it right, okay?
What is doing it right? Because clearly what you've been doing is wrong. Hence the reason why this video exists. Hence the reason why your views are down. So what is right, Phil? He don't think. Like when you make silly... Don't get me wrong, I say stupid shit too. It is what it is. But when you make stupid comments like that, this is why people make the joke that he has a lack of self-awareness. Like, he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. He talks literally out of his ass. And because it sounds smart or it sounds good in his own head, it don't translate once it comes out of his snout. And that's why he's where he's at now. This shit ain't hard to figure out. This shit ain't brain surgery. Give people what they want. And people don't want to sit there and go through 250 fucking videos to see a playthrough. It's not a montage. You're just cutting out the bullshit. And Phil don't want to cut the bullshit out because if you think about it, right? We're not breaking new ground here, but we're breaking new ground here. He looks at editing as work, and it is work. It is a lot of work. But see, the thing is about editing, right? And thank you to James the Lesser for this. When I look at editing, right? And what little I've done, not for anything here, I've done it on other channels for other stuff. It's me expressing myself without actually talking. People are able to see my vision as best I can get it out there, I should say. They can see my vision the best way I can put it out at the time. Right? Everything's a work in progress. Everything can be tweaked. Everything can be put in its place. I don't want to be perfect. I just want my vision to be out there. And that requires time and effort. Phil don't want that. Phil don't want that at all. Phil wants quick buck, quick buck, quick buck. You know what I'm saying? Minimum effort, minimum time, time involved, maximum profit. He's always thought that way. And he always looked at the raw Let's Plays as being his way of doing so. The problem is the brand that he built. And it is a brand. All of us have a brand, right? The brand that he built up literally crumbled from under him because it was built on sand. It was built on garbage. If you're starting off at the ground floor with what Phil did, that's fine. Everybody has to start somewhere. If anybody remembers my history, I started off with a bunch of extremely beautiful but overly sexualized women in my videos. I actually miss doing that, to be honest. But especially since if you guys saw what would be considered the void of some of the folders that are here in the newsroom, boy, oh boy, business be booming. Anyway, business be booming. The thing, I started off somewhere and whatnot, and as time goes on, you change with the times. I didn't do things the way other people did it. I still did it my way, but I still had to change. I wanted something more. And as more and more people, one that I started talking to online, that are within this community, I should say, and as more and more people entered into this newsroom, it wasn't about me. It was the vision it was a collective vision that we all had. And I'm willing to work towards that. But then I can see outside of myself. James the Lesser can see outside of himself. Agent Proper can see outside of himself. Rob and Zephyr together can see outside of themselves and see what they want for each other, and then what they want for the population at large, so on and so forth. That's what goes into content creation. And that's not even talking about being paid for it. When you talk about being paid for to put out something, then guess what? It's all about what the customer wants. Now, at the same time, you still have to be you. But you're catering to a clientele that are going to have critiques, or going to have ideas, or going to have suggestions. But Phil never wanted that, because Phil looks at it as, oh, that's not what brought you guys here. This is what brought you guys here. So why would you guys want me to change from this to this when this brought you here? Let's do this differently. Exhibit A is what attracted you guys to me. Exhibit B is what you guys want now. But that don't make any sense, though, because Exhibit A is what brought you here. So now I got to conform to Exhibit B? Oh, I'm not doing that. Phil doesn't look at it as Exhibit A brought them here. Exhibit B is what they feel that you can do. And they want to see you do it. And they want to support that. He says that you guys have a personal relationship, right? That you guys, he brings you into the behind the scenes, into the business aspect and all that bullshit, right? That whole, pig snorting. He tells you all this, right? That he's bringing you guys along for the ride. He's bringing you into the experience. Then how is it hard to figure out that what brought people here is not what's going to keep them here? That's why they want you to do this. They want to see you do better, so they can continue to support you. So they can go ahead and pass that on to other people around them, so they can help in their small way of trying to support you. How is that hard to figure out? Is it just me? Am I reaching? I could be reaching. I could be.
But I do feel that what I do on YouTube is, at least from my perspective, right, a different way to do it, and a way that has intrinsic value. I do feel that...
I thought you said that you weren't special, you weren't unique, but it's different. On top of that, I'm glad that you think highly of yourself. You need that. We all do. But that's not what's clicking on YouTube. That's not what's paying bills and putting food on the table. You know what I'm saying? That's what's diminishing all that. That's why Panda had to go and get a job. Which is funny how, as the man, as the provider, right? That's what he says now. I'm the man of the house. I want to provide for my family. But when he was living in with his live-in potentially underage girlfriend, at least when they first started talking, he didn't seem to care much about providing then. Oh, you got to go and get a job, Panda. You got to go ahead and start pulling your weight. But you didn't bring her out there to get a job. You brought her out there to do that soap business and cook and clean and take care of you. And in one of the few instances that you should have been able to take care of her in the bedroom, you couldn't match up. You couldn't obtain that. Now, I don't know nothing about that. I aim to please, so I don't know anything about that. But you obviously couldn't do that. And it's funny how yet again, think about what I just said. I'm the provider. I want to do what I can to support my family, but yet he's not willing to get a job. Because what he's doing, ladies and gentlemen, isn't cutting the mustard. Is begging a full-time job? Is begging bringing pride and prestige to the Brunel name? I'm asking. I'm asking.
My video style has intrinsic value. It sets me apart from the pack, because unlike all those other guys using all the methodology to get the big views and everything on YouTube, I don't do that. I don't kowtow down to that denominator of looking for that kind of popularity.
You're an idiot. You're absolutely fucking stupid then. At the end of the day, for playing the way you're playing, because you got to understand, Phil, you and I are playing two separate games. Playing the way you're playing, you're doing this for a living, which means you have to keep up with the status quo. You have to keep up with the market value. I'm not saying that I don't have to, but I'm saying is he needs to do it. I can go ahead and pick my moves. He does what he can. I do as I choose. There's the difference between the two of us. He does this shit because he has to do it. I don't. If I decide to stop this and quit, I quit. Well, I wouldn't quit. You know what I'm saying? I'd retire. But you know what I mean? He's forced to do this. So I want you to think about this. So let's go ahead and reframe this for a minute. Because, you know, most of you work jobs, go to school, or have careers. Phil don't have none of those things. So let's talk from that standpoint. You guys are going to school currently, or you guys are working at a job slowly to build yourself and put yourself into either a better position or to put yourself into a different type of market, a competitive market that you're hoping to build your career off of. With that being said, and just by definition and by the nature of the beast, competitive, right, means that you have to be able to keep up with the status quo. You keep up with the status quo because that's what the industry requires, right? Or that's what your field requires. The competition comes to the fact that there is nothing really fucking special about you. You are nothing more than a long line of a bunch of people competing for the same job. Matter of fact, competing for the same job within the same field, which is slowly but surely shrinking. Having versatility in what you can do is important. If you go in with only one type of skill, you're going to fail. Unless you are fucking exceptional at that skill. And even then, a lot of people have failed. Phil Brunel is an example of that, even though he doesn't have any exceptional skills. He devoted all that time to Street Fighter, and look at the best that he ever got. 4th place at EVO. On a shitty port. Not even in the real game. And in the real game, he had his ass handed to him. I don't care about the EVO qualifiers. He can have that. I ain't even mad at that. But when it was time to show up to the big dances, when it was time to come to the big prize fights, he couldn't compete. That's the reality. That's the cause. Now, back to competitive market. In a competitive market, you have to do whatever you can to compete. If you choose to lag behind, then guess what? Eventually, you end up staying in the same position for 30 goddamn years, or you get phased out. Pure and simple. It doesn't get any more blunt and or honest than that. This idiot right here is in a market, right? He was in a field, right? Where everything was transparent to him. He had all the opportunities in the world. He had a fan base a rabid fan base that was supportive of him, who were not only supporting him financially, but also morally, right? He had people who were willing to go out and actually learn the skills so they can help him out, right? To make his content better. He had all of the opportunities. He had all the tools around him. And because he's nothing more than a blunt fucking instrument himself, he didn't know how to utilize them. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you're weak of character. You're a fucking tool. And when you're a fucking tool, other people use you. Because a tool don't think. A tool just does what it's made for. And that's what Phil did. He was made to fail. And that's what he did. And if this shit meant anything to him, he would have tried. And he didn't. He thought spamming the system was work. And just like with that shit at the helicopter company, he thought he did something special, and he was feeling himself, and he walked around, started making demands, and they got his ass up and out of there, if I had to guess. That's what ripped him. This is no different. At the end of the day, back in his day, it was very easy to compete. He had the money, he had the time, and he had people who were willing to go out of their way to learn the know-how. And he somehow fucked all that up. He should have been at the cutting edge, ladies and gentlemen, when it came to early streaming. For the most part, at least from a personal level, from like an actual streamer to audience type thing. Nothing on a larger scale. He should have been on top of that. When direct capture should have been a thing, he had the money and the resources to do that too. He had all of the opportunities in the world to get shit done. Now, am I saying, and I've said this before on record, so you can cross-check me or you can fact-check me if you need to, that was he ever going to be Maximilian? Was he ever going to be Rad Brad? Was he ever going to be MK Fire and Ice? Was he ever going to be any of those type of Let's Play channels? Hell no. Hell no. But he was going to be up there. He would actually be regarded. He would actually be referenced, if you will. Not being a fucking laughingstock of YouTube. Not being the fucking King John of YouTube where everybody just takes a shit on him, laughs it up, and walks away. He would have been someone that people would respect if he gave them a reason to respect him. He didn't want that. He wanted to talk his shit, get his money from his little fan base, and be happy with what little kingdom he had. If you want to even call that a kingdom. It's not even a kingdom, it's a village. It was a village. And that was it. You weren't a king, you weren't a lord, you were just the head of that village. And when the detractors formed and came and pillaged that bitch, he could do nothing to defend himself. And how many people fell on their swords for him? I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but you guys understand the reference.
I don't care if I don't get the massive mainstream view on YouTube. The bottom line is, all I want is to be able to pay my bills and continue to do this as a business full time. And
what kind of ambition is that, ladies and gentlemen? I know I just finished talking your ear off, but you know, that's kind of what I do here. It's my niche. But what kind of ambition is that? Oh, I just want to be able to pay my bills and keep running my failing business on YouTube, which isn't a business, by the way. I just want to be able to pay my bills. You could go and get a 9-to-5 and do that. You say that you're in such a unique position that many people would trade for. I've talked to people who said they'd like to do what Phil does. They don't want to be Phil. Trust me. They would actually put effort and shit into it. But they'd like to do what he does. There's plenty of people who have said that. I'm sure. But if that's the case, if he's in such a privileged position, then why wouldn't he fight for it? Why wouldn't he do the best he can to keep it? Like, anybody ever thought about that? Here, let me give you guys an example. All right, Almighty Tevin, praise be. So, did any of you guys ever think about why was it that Phil was so desperate to get Tevin kicked off of Twitch? Anybody ever really gave some deep thought about that? And let's step away from the memes for a minute. The whole it's Tevin's fault and all that bullshit, the racism and all that. Let's step away from all that for a minute and actually give an actual constructive look on why was it that Phil wanted Tevin up and out of there. How about I give you guys a small timeline that's not actually truly a timeline, but give you guys an escalation of an affair that Phil couldn't live with. You guys ready? Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, when the first time I think I ever saw a Tevin stream, and this is after watching his videos for a good amount of time, he used to pull between like 40 and 60 people, you know what I'm saying, per stream. That's a good amount. You know what I'm saying? You can't pull everybody on Twitch. Now, keep in mind, at the time, Twitch was a work in progress, right? So he was tweaking things as he was moving along, right? And you guys who have been around for that long, you saw that experience. You saw him grow on Twitch and how he made all these different changes and all this. And the thing is about Tevin is he watches other streamers, right? And he listens to other streamers and he listens to videos on how to improve things and stuff like that, right? So he was constantly trying to build upon what he had. And as time went on, his numbers got bigger. Then when you get into the situation with SOK, the fall of SOK, if you will, then you saw, I mean, his numbers were already building, but then you saw an even larger influx, right? Because now he has to take the throne. And with that being said, more people are going to come to support. So at the time, I don't have the exact numbers at this point. You have my apologies on that. But Tevin was in the hundreds, 200 plus and growing. Now, I want you guys to think about this. If Tevin didn't get kicked off when he did, right? I want you to think about this. If Tevin didn't get kicked off when he did, and Tevin was on the platform now, how many people do you think he could draw? Now, with that being said, pause on that for just a second. How many people, let me ask you another question. How many people does Tevin pull on his Twitch, on his, not Twitch, I apologize, on his YouTube stream? He's creeping closer and closer to 2,000, if you guys are really paying attention. You know what I'm saying? He's averaging somewhere between 1,200 to like 1,500, 1,700, 1,800. He's starting to push 2. He's starting to slowly creep his way up to 2. Let me give you another example. Lightside Bill, when he started, he was pulling about 200 plus on his DSP streams. If Tevin's not streaming, he's like in the 5s. He's like in the 5s, upper 5s. If Tevin is streaming, he's in the 2s, still in the 3s, which are strong numbers. Let me give you another example. Dark Dave Mirrors. When Dark Dave Mirrors started, he had about 100 plus. Now, you can catch 200 plus people on any given stream that Dark Dave Mirrors does at almost any given time. It's very, very consistent, the product that he puts out. And in that of consistency, it's starting to grow. Now, let's go back to my original question. Why is it that Phil wanted Tevin up and off of Twitch when he did? You guys ready for the answer? Sorry, I don't mean to be an asshole about it. The reason why is because Tevin's numbers were starting to grow on Twitch. And in a couple months, if not in another year, he'd be matching Phil's numbers. And we're talking about doing this without actually restreaming Phil on Twitch. Because Tevin had already taken a couple of hits prior to that, which is the reason why he stopped doing it anyway. He was doing all of his own content on Twitch at that time. Now I want you to continue. So let's go back to my original point. Tevin's numbers were growing. And they were going to start matching Phil's numbers, if not, probably going to end up eclipsing him eventually. Now, with that being said, let me throw another caveat at you. Who were those other two fellows who ended up getting bumped off to? That was They Call Me Tex, or they call it TXT Tex, or TXT now, and Bill Purnell. They got knocked off too. Now, Tevin is cool with them, I'm pretty sure. So, who would Tevin auto-host? I'm not saying auto-host all the time, but who would he auto-host? More than likely, if those guys were streaming, it'd be them. And in turn, excuse me, since they kind of all fall into that same type of situation, and Tex and Bill Purnell had like an actual channel that was like a talk show type situation, like a podcast, I should say, that would give people an incentive to go over there and listen to it, which only brings up even more numbers. So now you got 3 detractors on the platform who are slowly but surely creeping up to where you're at in numbers, if not eclipsing it. Then what? And I think that was the justifiable and not justifiable, but in his head, that was the justifiable and probable cause to get those guys knocked off. I think that's why he did it. I've been thinking about that for a little while now. And don't be wrong, there's other factors and whatnot, and there's other outcomes to it. But that's at least one of them that I'm going to throw out to you right now. Those Tevin's numbers were getting up there, and he couldn't stop it. And it's also funny too that right around this time, Tevin is applying for, I don't know if he was an affiliate or if he was applying for partnership. I can't remember. I think he might have been already an affiliate because he did have subs, and maybe he was applying for partnership, and they weren't responding back to him, right? And it's funny how most of the time, if you as long as you meet the criteria, right, especially over a span of time, you are highly likely to be approved for it, right? Maybe they'll ask for another 30 days to see how you do before they finally give it to you, but you know what I'm saying? More than likely, your chances are better. And Tevin's numbers were good enough to where, and he was committed to it, to where, it would be reasonable for him to have that opportunity. And yet he didn't. That's really interesting, right? And then we know, though we don't know exactly who that individual is, that somebody at Twitch is watching over Phil's pig butt and protecting him. Hence the reason why he's where he's at now. Hence the reason why, though Phil's not untouchable, it's the reason why he is where he is. Seems interesting, don't it? Now, keep in mind, none of that's a Theo theory. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not a Theo theory. But it's a thing. Or at least that's one of the ways I look at it. That's one of the equations that I've come to. Like I said, not exactly a Theo theory. Let's continue.
Thing is, maybe that's not viable anymore. Maybe I do need to change, and I need to do a lot of things that I don't want to do in order to make this a viable business, and that sucks.
I need to do. Wow, you got the stink face on that. You got the stink face on that. Yikes! I bet that's what he looks like when he sees. I bet you that's the look he gives Catherine when she serves him potatoes for like the 4th night in a row. Anyway, it's funny how, yet again, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of things in life you're not going to want to do. Right? There's a lot of things you're not going to want to do. But in a privileged position like this, you would think you would do everything. There is no such thing as what you don't want to do. If there's a certain type of game you don't want to play, that's one thing. You can forgive that, or you can let that go. But if you're trying to survive, as he's saying, his wording, there isn't a what I don't want to do. I will do what I have to do. You would think that's a thing, right? His father, as far as I know, was a Marine. So, with that being said, you would think he would be instilled with the idea that survival is above everything. There is no such thing as what you want and what you don't want. You make do. Just throwing it out there.
Right? That really does suck, but that's pretty much the reality that's kind of facing me right now, alright? So anyway, here's what's going on. This past month, facing this reality, all right, I've talked to a ridiculous amount of people. I've talked to my biggest fans, and quite honestly, I've talked to some of my strongest critics on YouTube. I've talked to other YouTubers. I've talked to people on my forums, people in the comments of my videos, people on social media like Twitter, all right? And the bottom line is something's got to give, right?
I don't really think he reached out to other YouTubers, i.e. those who are in his lane or bigger than him. I think he's just talking about, I'm talking about like people like Kekken and Brian and stuff like that. I think those are the people, the type of people he reached out to. People who are just kind of getting started or who do this casually. I don't think he really reached out to anybody else. I could be wrong, and it wouldn't be the first time and it won't be the last. But I very likely doubt that. I really do. And even if he did, he certainly didn't take their advice. So, fuck does it matter either which way.
And there's been a lot of conversation about things that I can do. Now, there's long-term fixes and short-term fixes. Long-term, people have said, well, you got to edit down your videos and you got to do this and that. I can't do that right now. I'm so busy right now in this gaming season. There's no possible way I could completely change my style of video on the fly. It's not going to happen. If something like that is going to happen, it's going to have to happen long-term. Say, over the course of next year, I try to implement a phase kind of plan where, okay, I'm still doing the raw gameplay, but now I'm going to massively implement time so that I could do this edited style montage of the game for, say, KO Gaming and stuff like that. But we're not there yet, and it's nothing that I could do as an overnight fix. What I've been looking for are overnight fixes, and some people will call them big.
So, you just heard it. This idiot saying that I'm looking for quick fixes. I'm looking for easy ways out. And, oh, if I have to edit out videos, oh, well, I have to do that next year. Well, then next year comes around and he's like, well, I can't do it this year because I got all these plans, or the hardcore gaming season is going to be, you know, it's going to really encumber me and I won't be able to fit it all in. All he's doing is pushing that off. He's pushing it off further and further and further when it comes to the whole editing thing. And he only wants to do it for KO Gaming, but he's probably let that bled out. He's slowly but surely letting that hemorrhage, so that's not going to help him very much. And yet again, as he just told you, I'm not putting the words in his hook, in his snout. He's telling you, I'm looking for overnight fixes. I'm looking for the easy way out. I'm looking for short-term goals, or sorry, short-term fixes for my short-term goals. And it's because he doesn't have long-term thinking is the reason why he is where he's at. It's the reason why a lot of people can be said to be where they're at, because it's very easy to worry about tomorrow. But what about next month? What about 6 months down the line? What about a year? You ask, it's very hard to have a conversation with someone and ask them what their 5-year plan is. Most people don't think out that far. Most people don't think out their 3-year plan. Most people don't even think out a year. Now, if you fall into any one of those 3 categories, it's okay, because there's a lot of people like that. Here's what the reality is. Please start thinking now. Start setting up, first off, what are your goals? And then you think about, how do you work towards those goals? What do you need to do to obtain either the knowledge, the research, the experience, whatever the case may be, to obtain those goals? Once you reach that, and now that you have that, what do you hope to obtain now that you've reached that goal? And you kind of just build from there. That's not hard. I could literally talk to any of you guys for an hour, and that could be worked out, or at least the blueprints of it. Everything's a work in progress. And you're gonna, and the thing is about long-term thinking like that is people are scared because they're like, well, what if I change my mind? That's okay. That's okay. You're kind of supposed to. There's no point in going through life being rigid, right? You just need to have a plan. All right? And then you work towards that plan. You're going to run into stumble, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to have roadblocks, this, that, and the third. Keep your eye on the prize. And as long as you stay prepared and continue and be willing to work towards it and continue to move forward, you have no problems. But see, the problem with Phil is he was too willing to step back. He was too willing to try to grasp onto things that he used to have, or being used to doing things the way he used to do it because he was popular, or allegedly, or he was whatever. He garnered attention for it at one time or another. He was too scared to let go of the shackles. To let go of the past. Not realizing that they were shackles. Not realizing that that's what was holding him back. And because of that, that's why he failed. Pure and simple.
Band-Aids, yeah. But let's face it, I got to do something in the short term to try to make stuff better, right? I can't just keep doing the same thing over and over. You know what they say? Insanity is doing the same exact thing over and over and expecting a different result. I can't just...
And that's exactly what you did. That's exactly what you did. You put in low effort, and you expected everything in the world for that low effort, and you lost everything. You do that now. But let me give you guys a really good example of that, of this insanity argument. What was the actual pig lore behind that vest? Oh, this is a nostalgia thing. Oh, you guys hit this goal that I didn't think you guys were gonna hit, and I'll just put this on just for nostalgia. Okay, it all started with the retrospective. Then it was like, hey Phil, you should set that up as a goal. You should set that up as a tip goal. And if we hit the tip goal, then you'll bring the vest out. No. The vest is only for special occasions. Okay? It's only for special occasions. I don't want to bring it out every single time or make a goal for it every single time, because then it's not special anymore. It loses its appeal. Now what? Now up to the time I'm recording this, he's what? On like a 5 or 6 day 6-day streak with that each and every night or whatever, each and every stream they hit the goal for him to put the vest on, or maybe not, or at least once a day I should say they hit the goal for him to put the vest on. So what happened to it being special? What happened to it being exclusive? And now he's putting feelers out there about maybe if people are willing to pay a large amount of money, they can name it. So in the span of a month, a little over a month, it went from, oh, this is for special occasions, if I do it all the time, it's not special, to now he's whoring himself out in that vest day in, day out. Making himself look like a Muppet, making himself look like a clown, using gimmicks and props to get over. And slowly but surely it's going to fade. And why is it going to fade, ladies and gentlemen? Because he only wants a short-term fix. Oh, I'm guaranteed to get $100, and all I got to do is put this stupid vest on? Okay, fair enough. And then it's going to be harder and harder to obtain that goal. So now he's shilling it multiple times in a stream. Hey guys, I'm on this win streak. We're still on this winning streak with this vest. If you guys want me to wear that vest, you gotta make sure you hit that $100 goal. Now it's not special anymore. Now he's nothing more than a prostitute begging you to give him money to take his clothes off. Or in this case, put his clothes on. It's worthless now. It's worthless now. Because now, instead of people wanting to go out and chase it, he's willing to give it to them. He's almost demanding, willingly demanding them to give him money so he can just give it to them. He's turned it into another prop. Just like with his little stuffed animals, just like with Jasper, just like with Catherine. He doesn't give a fuck about any of these things. They're all props. None of them have any type of real value outside of what they can give him in the short term. If that doesn't prove my point, I don't know what will. Actually, that's not true. There's other things I could use too, but just to give an example. DSPNEWS.
Just do the same exact thing every day and expect that things are magically going to get better overnight out of nowhere. Now, let's be honest here. Since I've revealed what's been going on with my business, there's been a ton of positivity coming out and people pledging to my Patreon and people coming out and saying, we support you, Phil. And that is great. And that is obviously a way to help short-term help things. And honestly, long-term too, because the bottom line is if those people who pledge to my Patreon keep pledging, it's going to help me in the long term. All right. But that's also not going to be the end-all be-all savior of everything, and I realize that. And you know what it is that I read all this feedback over the past month, and I don't directly make a video like this explaining, and then I think people think that all of that feedback is falling on deaf ears, when in reality it's not. It's just that I can't actively respond to every piece of feedback that I get. And I'll be honest, a lot of people cannot help giving feedback without insulting, too. It's like, well, here's a bunch of positive feedback. Oh, by the way, Phil's a lazy fuck. Well, that's not going to help. You know what I mean?
Wait. So... So wait a second. So you were given a bunch of constructive criticism, but because someone threw the caveat that you're a lazy fuck at the end of it, you disregard everything that all of the charitable goodwill that was given before that. You just disregard it. Now that's ironic because this is coming from the same idiot, right, who sits there and insults people on the regular for the littlest things, right? Instead of just saying, "Hey, that's not cool to say. don't do that or I'm going to ban you, right? Or I'm going to have to put you in timeout or whatever. He's like, you say that again, I'm going to fucking ban you, asshole. Fucking idiot. That's him. So it's okay to do it to everybody else, but if it's going to happen to him, it's a problem. Wow.
Like, you give as much...
And this is the same idiot who's looking for short-term fixes, which makes him a lazy bastard, which means that the person's right. So you're not mad because they insulted you. You're mad because the insult is the truth. And isn't Phil the same person who tells us the best insult is the truth? That's a salty piece of bacon there.
And constructive feedback as you want, and as soon as you could put in that insult, you've completely destroyed any kind of a case that you had for trying to help out, and people need to understand that too. All right?
No, because they don't have to be fucking snowflakes, or they don't have to fucking delicately dance around you. Pure and simple. You're the one who's asking for help. If you don't like how that help is being provided to you, then suffer, bitch. Outside of that, you deal with it. Because if you knew what the fuck you were doing, you wouldn't have asked for help. Period. You may not like how it's given to you, but you accept it. And since, yet again, you're a blunt tool, you're going to get treated as such.
Anyway, I'm getting off topic now. The bottom line is, quick fixes.
So, yet again, this idiot wants... This guy is basically saying, come up with ideas to bail me out, but make sure they're fast. And don't insult me. I'm emotionally weak, basically. And I can't deal with insults. So give me advice, give me suggestions, and kiss my ass as you do it. If that's not the mark of a weak man, I don't know what is.
For my business,
not even a weak man, just a weak person in general.
Seem to be either number one, leaving YouTube streaming altogether and going back to Twitch. Because now people are saying pretty much no one streams on YouTube anymore. It's that simple. Almost no one streams on YouTube at all. YouTube Gaming last year, let's face it, was a hideous failure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because he didn't go back to... Wait a second. When is this? He just said leave YouTube and go back to Twitch. This is November... This is November of 2016. Didn't you go back to Twitch like the next month? Because right before he got dropped from Machinima, he was already back on Twitch. And that was beginning of 2017. So you're talking about people are telling you to go back to Twitch in November, and you ended up going back in like December. So you're basically about to shoot down an idea that you're going to end up doing anyway? Let's go ahead and hear this out.
YouTube claimed they were going to make gaming popular, streaming popular on the website. They haven't. They literally launched YouTube.
They eventually did. That's why that's why people are getting bought out of Twitch contracts and coming to YouTube or Mixer. It's a thing. And to be honest with you, most people will tell you that if you built yourself a large following on YouTube, just stream here. You know what I mean? I mean, that doesn't mean don't have a Twitch account, but it just means stream here. And then if you get shadow banned, which seems to be happening quite a bit lately, then go over to Twitch or go to Mixer and whatnot until the shadow ban gets cleared up and see what you can build while you're there. Matter of fact, if any of you are considered streaming, you should be trying to stream on all platforms. There are programs that you can use that allows you to multi-stream, and then you guys aren't affiliated, you guys are partnered. So build an audience on all three platforms, or as many platforms as you need to be honest, and whatnot, and bring them all together in one particular place and whatnot, and build it like that. So no matter where you go, you're known everywhere, if you think about it. If one was inclined to do so, I mean.
And they did absolutely nothing whatsoever to promote it, nor to actually make it viable or convince anyone to come watch streams on YouTube. They've done nothing. You can't just launch something and then just leave it alone and expect that it's just going to massively grow virally.
But you're the same idiot who expected them to launch something and produce gold right away so you could benefit, and that didn't happen. This is 2016. 2020, which is our current year of gout, it's a regular to stream on YouTube. It's what a lot of people do. It's just a matter of making sure you don't get banned or shadow banned. Well, banned in general, you know what I mean? So everything takes fucking time. But this is coming from the same unrealistic motherfucker who sat there and got white hot popular overnight, and he expected the whole world to just work like that ever since. Which is one of the most unrealistic things that I've ever heard. And it just goes to show how unprepared he was when he left home. And all those jobs and going off to college and whatever advice his parents gave him apparently went into one ear and out the other, because look at how much of a fuck up he is. He's only where he's at because of luck and pity. That's it. And that's not very good, because eventually you'll run out of both. And he kind of ran out of pity, so to speak. Hence the reason why he has detractors, trolls, and critics and haters. All he has now is luck. And 9 times out of 10, people are starting to really look at it and be like, he may have the devil's luck. And I think I might have been one of the first people to say that. But someone's looking out for him. His ability to get out of shit is unnatural. You know what I'm saying? It's unnatural. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to get super spiritual about it. I just like calling it the devil's luck, because someone sold their soul for something, or he made some type of sacrifice. But in truth, his luck is extremely unusual. There's not too many people who can go through what he's gone through and still continue to hobble along. Like, there's very few people in life who can do that, or who've been able to do that. And every one of those pieces of luck, he still never capitalized off it. He just kept making the same fucking mistakes over and over again. And there's something wrong with that, obviously. And that's not something that's unique to me. I'm sure there's a lot of people who feel that way. But it is slightly unnatural. It's a strange type of luck, I'll tell you that.
Google may think that that's the case or something, because that's what happened with the Google search engine, and that's what happened with YouTube in a way. But that's not how life works, right? In business, you actually have to have some kind of a competitive edge. In YouTube gaming, streaming...
But you just said that... Whoa. You said in business you have to have some type of competitive edge. I want you to think about it while you're looking at this idiot. This idiot said that you need to have a competitive edge, despite the fact that in the very industry that he's in, and the people that are within his lane, they decided to go one way, which is competitive and allows not only the person to grow, but the actual content to grow, which allows the actual community to grow. And he said he didn't want to do that. He wanted to keep doing what he wanted to do. So this idiot right here understands that you need to compete so you can be successful, but doesn't want to do it, but expects everybody else to do it. That's kind of stupid. That's kind of fucking ignorant, if you think about it. YouTube needs to be more competitive and whatnot so I can profit, but don't expect me to be competitive against my peers, because that's too much work. Jesus Christ. That'd make a good thumbnail, though.
Has no competitive edge.
Coming from the other guy who doesn't have any competitive edge either.
So, when you're
faced...
faced...
what kind of broke bitch he is, that he went from drinking Dasani, to drinking some bottled water with just a plain label on it. This is the same idiot who said, "Oh, I wanted to go to the store and get bottled water, and all the expensive water's there, but all the El Cheapo water's gone. Why don't they just drink from a faucet?" Even though his dumbass is there to buy the quote-unquote, air quotes, the El Cheapo water. See how much of an ignorant bastard Phil Bonnell is? Let's keep going, though. You'll see more.
With, gee, do I continue to live stream daily on YouTube, or do I go to Twitch, where that's where all the popular stuff is? When a new game comes out, people are searching for that game, and you can come up in search results easily, and you're going to get organic viewers that are going to come into your live streams just because you're on the most popular streaming platform there is. Obviously, that looks more appealing than streaming on YouTube. Now, I've already given a bunch of reasons why, at least right now, I can't immediately jump ship back to Twitch and say, here we go. In fact, I'll be honest, not only is it a technical aspect, meaning the ability to stream at a quality that I feel is acceptable, but also record at a quality that I feel is acceptable, which is the reason why I left Twitch to begin with 2 years ago.
Which goes to show how outdated and how ill-informed and how ignorant this bastard is. In 2 years... a lot of things have changed. But this idiot don't know that, because he's still hung up on the fact that 2 years ago, someone told him to bring his quality down. And he's held on to that grudge ever since. For 2 goddamn years, this idiot held on to a grudge that didn't mean shit to anybody but him, and put himself at a deficit. Think about that.
Actually heard many things about you can fix that now. Like there's a new version of my streaming program, OBS, that will stream at one quality to Twitch, but record at the higher quality for YouTube. So basically it fixes the whole issue that I had 2 years ago, okay? There's also philosophical differences that I have, business reasonings that I have for not going back to Twitch, and I might have to eventually just bite the fucking bullet and say, you know what, even though I really disagree with a lot of the stuff that they do over there and the philosophy that they have over there, because the bottom line is I don't feel that Twitch is about quality gaming streams at all. They don't care about the quality of the streams that's put out. They just care about how much money the stream makes. That's why, if you look, in the 2 years since Amazon bought Twitch, have they improved the actual video quality of the website? Have they massively increased server capacity? Have they done anything really to say, look, here...
You just said they increased you just said they increased the actual streaming quality over there. And your program OBS allows you to stream at two different qualities now too. You kind of already admitted that. Did you not? Did you forget already? Wow. Okay. Let's talk. Let's listen to more of his business philosophy, right, and whatnot before I tear that shit the fuck down.
We are the premier streaming service, and here's a ton of quality stuff for you. No, they said, here's t-shirts, here's new emotes you have to pay for, subs, basically every possible thing to fundraise rather than improve the quality of their site. And I'm completely the opposite of that. I'm of the belief that
you're a fucking hypocrite. And if this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is not an example to prove that that DSP, Darksydephil, Phil Brunel is not a fucking hypocrite, I don't know what is. He thinks that he had to basically be a shill so he could be on their site. So I want you to think about this for a minute. This man, and I use that term fucking loosely, turned his back on his own philosophy and on his own word so he could be comfortable, so he could fit in. Mr. I'm a fucking trailblazer, I'm the realest guy on YouTube, reduced himself allegedly down to the level of the rest of those alleged whores so he could be on a site with them because it was the most popular place. He couldn't stand out on his own two hooves and be his own man. He had to go ahead and conform with everybody else, even though it's against his sensibilities and his philosophy and in a lot of ways, he's trying to project his moral standings. Think about that for a minute.
You can improve the quality of a site while you also make it profitable. It's not all just about the money, which it seems to be that entire site is about. There's so many examples.
But that's what he's about, and that's what his business is about. He just told us that he wants to make enough money so he can pay his bills and to keep his business running. What does that mean? All I care about is capital, so I can keep going. So another site has that same philosophy, but it's a problem to fill because of why?
I can give of people that violated the site rules, did nasty stuff on that service, and were massively forgiven just because they bring in money to the site. And I don't agree with that at all. And I also know, let's be honest, if I go back to Twitch, I will be the redheaded stepchild. I will be the guy that 2 years ago left the site because I was so furious with their practices, right? That coming back, there's no way I'm ever going to get any kind of,
he's lying. And that's why he can't look you straight in the face when he says it. That's why he has this far-off, drunken look on his face. He's lying. When he went back to Twitch, because Tevin's already gone over this, all he did is reach out to Twitch and was like, hey, can you reactivate my account, and do I still have partnership? They said, okay, no problem. Redheaded stepchild, no one gave a fuck that he left, and no one gave a flying fuck that he came back. He would put in a request to have his account reactivated. They did it. He didn't get thrown off the site. He didn't get banned, so they were like, okay, he still has his partnership intact, and they let him back on, and he just started streaming. Because just like Tevin said, just like if you Google it, if you want, once you have partnership, you don't lose it unless they take it from you. Period. So there was no hoops to jump over. There was no personal biases, or there wasn't any prejudices since he walked out of the fucking site. No one gave a fuck. And it's ridiculous to think otherwise. But see, he spun the tail, though. He spun the pigtail. So more of you would be inclined to support him. Because this goes back to that stupid fucking mythos that he's the underdog. And he's doing what he has to against a system and against a society that's looking to shun him at every turn. Because allegedly, we're all jealous of him and his abilities. And his talents. Fuck out of here.
The word I'm looking for. I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. But
yeah, it's really hard to come up with big words when you're lying. I understand, Phil. I don't really get it, but I understand it.
Kind of consideration from those people, right? That, you know, they're probably going to be on my ass. They're going to be like,
they don't owe you consideration. You chose to leave. And like I said, they don't give a fuck. And why do you think why would they give you considerations? What he really thinking, what he really wants is to be catered to. He wants perks. He basically wants everything that he feels that he would have obtained if he didn't leave because his feelings got hurt. What he wants, ladies and gentlemen, is to be compensated. That's what he wants. You want an even bigger word, Phil? I'll give you one. He wants reparations. That's what he wants. That's what he wants. And he's not going to get that. Because they don't owe him nothing.
We get the right quality immediately and do this and this. And I'll have people monitoring me. I know it. I just know it because that's how they kind of operate their business. Is they have preferential treatment, excuse me.
So it's funny how he wants everybody on YouTube, right, to be monitored and this shit to be a police state. But over there on Twitch, he wants to be secure. He wants them to be more lax. Because he's about to make the transfer from YouTube to Twitch. Because that's basically what he's telling you. He's basically telling you he's going over to Twitch. And he wants them to back up off of him and not have to play by the same rules as everybody else who's still on the site. He wants to have it easy because he's coming back because he felt like he was scorned. He felt like he was slighted. Fuck out of here.
Who are the big guys, the big dogs, and everyone else is kind of just shuffled under the rug. So there's a lot of reasons why I don't want to go back to Twitch, all right? I might eventually do it, especially if
he did do it. He must have did it literally within days of this, if the timeline is even close to what I'm thinking it is.
It is true that I can stream to their standards, okay? But I can still record the quality that I want for YouTube. Maybe I'll go back. We'll see. But...
And in truth, the only real reason why he went back is because of all the money he can make. That's when they started introducing like cheers and all that stuff, and that's really what he went back to the chase after. All this right here is subterfuge. It's bullshit. He's saying it to basically gaslight while trying to garner support. They have such a terrible business. They don't know what they're doing. They're gonna go ahead and hate me because I stood up for myself, but I have to go back because I don't have a choice. So please support me. That's essentially what he's telling you.
There's been a lot of other discussion about me reducing the amount that I live stream. And this is really the meat of the video, what I want to get to. Reducing the amount that I live stream, because the bottom line is every day right now I've been live streaming at least 3 to 4 hours. Okay? And what it does is a few things. Number one, it oversaturates. When I'm live streaming every single day, it's not special. It's something that becomes...
So you were live streaming for 3 or 4 hours a day, and then you were cutting that up and putting them into YouTube videos, and then you walked away and you were done with your day. But didn't this idiot tell us that he was working all these long hours and he didn't have time to spend it? He didn't have any time to play in and out with Panda or any of that shit because he was in his office for like 12 to 15 hours and he didn't. And, you know, he was so goddamn busy, and yet he was only live streaming for 3 to 4 hours a day. What a scummy piece of shit! What a scumbag piece of garbage! You heard it from his own. You've heard it from his own snout, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't lie to you. He said it. He was only streaming 3 or 4 hours a day, and then he carves that shit up into smaller segments, another hour or two maybe, and then uploads it. And you can include all that into that 2 hours. So he's really only dealing with shit for about 6 hours. So this idiot literally has 18 hours left in his day. And he swore up and down that he was so goddamn busy because he's on social media and he has to promote and he has to do this and he has to do that. That's all part of it too. What? Yikes.
It's commonplace, right? And because it's commonplace, people tend to say, well, it's going to be there every day. I don't have to actually show up for it because it's commonplace. Phil will be streaming every day and it's not a big deal, right? And that's the problem, is when it becomes not a big deal, then people don't show up anymore. And
here again, yet again, it's this expectation that everything he does has to be special. And because it's special, you have to come out and support it. Is anybody picking that up? I know you guys are. I'm sorry. I don't mean to question you guys in any way, shape, or form. I know you guys get it.
I every day, setting up a stream, maintaining a stream, making sure the quality is good, asking people how
setting up a stream and maintaining a stream. As long as your internet doesn't drop, you shouldn't have any problems. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? He must really think well, I know he does, but he really thought his fan base back then were fucking retards. He really did. Each and every fucking one of them. Because this is kind of insulting. Especially when some of those people are in his lane. They're doing this. So they know what he's saying isn't true.
Levels are doing all this, doing all that. When there's a blip in the stream,
doing all that. That's not exactly describing to me what your situation is and what's taking up your time. It's almost like you're not really doing much of anything.
I gotta try to figure out what caused that blip and try to adjust it, right? And I have to be here on a set schedule to stream every single day rather than having the flexibility.
No, you don't. You make your own schedule. Like, you make your own schedule. Let me give you guys another example. Dr. Disrespect. If you guys follow his schedule on Twitter, his schedule changes whenever the fuck he feels like changing it. It's just how it works. Just like every other streamer. You don't have to be in a set regimen. Phil does that to try to follow through and to continue to establish that this is his job. Hey guys, I have to get up at such and such time. I got to be on stream at such and such time. I got to leave at such and such time. I have to go ahead and have videos up at such and such time. He makes it seem regimented so it gives legitimacy to what he does. But that's not the case. That's not the truth. That's not reality.
Recording whenever I have a free time and all that kind of noise.
And he has all day. He has all day. Ladies and gentlemen, if I had all day, and if I was motivated to do it, but then again, that's the situation in itself. But if I had all day to do it, who knows how many videos how many broadcasts I could do. Especially if I'm feeling the way I'm feeling right now. You know what I'm saying? I could probably definitely knock out 3 of these, maybe 4, if I'm feeling ambitious. So what is he talking about? He has all day. He don't have to go nowhere. He don't have to go ahead and put a suit and tie on. He doesn't have to talk to people. He doesn't have to hear, they're not lame jokes, but he doesn't have to he doesn't have to hear rather questionable jokes from individuals. But I'm kidding. I like the people that I work with. Stuff like that. He doesn't have to do any of those things. He sits in his shit pool, right? And he sniffs his own fucking farts, and that's it. All day. That's all he has to do. And he's making it seem like it's more than what it is, and he has full capabilities in what he does. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I can go into work whenever the fuck I feel like and go ahead and leave. I can do that. I don't. Well, I do, because I like to go in early and I like to stay late, but that's me though. But yet again, even then, right, it's still kind of a thing, right? You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. There are people who depend on me. There are people who depend on Phil. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, he's the one who tells you that it's all on demand. Right? Right? Right. And if it's on demand, that means people can get around to watching it when they want to. There is no hurry. There is no rush. It's there at their convenience. Womp womp.
And for what? When, quite honestly, if you actually look at live streaming, at least my live streaming, besides when I do a brand new release and I cover it for 1 to 2 days, or if I'm doing a special event like a marathon or maybe a multiplayer session of a new popular game, then people come out to watch. But in general, when I'm doing,
so everything has to be basically be a spectacle. You guys get that? It's basically a spectacle. New release. It's like going to opening night of a blockbuster movie, or a special event. The excitement, the gimmick, and then people show up for that. Where are the people that are there for you every day because they support you and they like what you do? He's not saying anything, which almost implies that they're really not there unless it's a gimmick, unless it's a special event. It's pretty pathetic.
Say a longer drawn-out playthrough, and I'll give a perfect example. A game like Dishonored 2, where the game was 15.5 hours long. After the first 2 sessions that I did, almost no one showed up to the streams anymore. Because let's face it, 2 reasons. Number 1, because a lot of people aren't caught up on the playthrough. Not everyone can watch.
No, because you probably played it for 8 hours and you fucked it up and it got boring. That's what happened. You're sitting there taking a 15-hour game and stretching it out to like 24 hours, which Phil's known to do that, and people lose interest. Pure and simple.
plus hours of gameplay within 2 days and be able to be caught up and be there for the live stream of that game. And number two,
and why would they want to come to the live stream when they can just watch it on demand at their leisure, you idiot? And if they do show up to your live stream to watch it, why the fuck would they want to go back and watch it on demand later, you idiot? Like, what sense does that make? Like, think about that. If you're going to see something mundane once, why would you force yourself to watch it again? Like, that don't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, yeah, it's possible they may have missed something, but, I mean, how likely is that? If it was boring the first time, more than likely it's going to be boring the second time. Whatever. Whatever.
Because a lot of people are either playing the game themselves, right? And so they don't want to be spoiled on what's going on in the game by watching.
That's a pathetic excuse. And I remember talking to James Lesser about this, and Ghostly Wins. Actually, I talked to him about it too. I thought that was the most pathetic excuse when he said that the reason why people aren't out to watch the new God of War is because they're playing it themselves, and that's why viewership's down, and that's why the views are down on YouTube. I thought that was the most pathetic excuse he could come up with. That was sad. And this is coming from Mr. New Releases and been doing it for years. Now all of a sudden the audience switched up and said, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, Phil, I can't watch you because I want to play it myself, and I don't want to be ruined by it." Really? Really, Derek? For example, I'm not saying Derek said this, but I'm just going to use him as my example. Really, Derek? Really, Golden Colts? Really, Straight Cash Homie? You've been watching them for all these years, and now, all of a sudden, on this one particular game, "Oh, Phil, I'm not going to be able to watch you or support you, and that's why you're going to be down thousands of views, and you're going to be down a couple hundred views on stream, which equates to a couple of $1,000s for the week because Straight Cash Homie needs to play the game for himself and don't want to be spoiled." Really? Really? Right? No.
Watching me play it so rapidly throughout that launch weekend, right? Or various other reasons. There's other life reasons why you can't be there for a live stream every day. Maybe it's appealing to you to be there for the premiere stream, but it's not appealing to you to be there for every moment of every piece of gameplay of that game over the course of the weekend.
So then why don't you just cut back on your live streaming then, if it's too much? Why don't you just do the premiere stream and then a follow-up and then turn the rest of it into videos? And with the amount of games that was coming out in 2016, and the amount of games that you more than likely skipped or didn't play, you have all the time in the world to get this done. Now that I'm actually hearing this, I damn sure don't understand any of this. I don't understand his thought process on this at all. It just sounds like straight stupidity. It sounds like he's purposely setting himself up to fail, which is amazing in itself.
And
why the fuck are you always chewing on your water? You just swallow. Just like I tell Cat.
Noticing is basically the same exact things for games like Watch Dogs 2 and Pokemon Moon, which I'm now playing. The premieres were great, and after that, the viewership drops off dramatically because people.
Now, this is what we're here for, ladies and gentlemen. That Pokemon Moon. I hope you guys like barbecue bacon burgers, because that's what we're about to have.
They can't catch up, or for whatever reason, they're not going to watch this incredibly long ongoing playthrough as a live stream. Now, that's different. A few years ago, I think maybe people had that mentality, and now things are more on YouTube becoming more like, well, it's a commonality that people are doing these playthroughs, and so I don't need to be there every single day, right, for the live stream or whatever. So I understand that. But I had this discussion this week. There's a vlog on this channel from earlier this week where I said, I'm just going to cut back then on the live streams because the bottom line is, I don't need a live stream every day. And if I cut back on live streams, the people who watch those live streams are, hopefully would watch those videos on demand on YouTube. That's going to give me more views there, which is going to obviously help with my business, because right now, the viewership I'm getting on streams doesn't count as much as a view on a video. And I know that sounds weird, but it's true. Think about it. If you tune into a live stream for 3.5 hours, that's 1 view. If you watch 9 to 10 videos, that's 10 views. And I know that sounds stupid, because I agree. Why is it that if someone watches something for 3.5 hours and watches advertisements during it, it doesn't count as much as watching 10 separate videos? I don't know. That's YouTube's mentality. That's not mine. I think that YouTube still, I hate to say it, in a lot of ways, is still in its infancy. And it hasn't perfected these kind of metrics or analytics or whatever you want to call them. It should count the same, but it doesn't.
And right. Because it don't, he expects them, yet again, to come out to the streams and then re-watch the videos later. So because in his eyes, right, in his head, because YouTube isn't fulfilling their obligations to him whatever that mysterious obligation is. He needs his fan base to work double time to pick up the slack. Literally trying to play the system. Because if the system worked the way he wanted it to work, he'd be literally fucking over the algorithm again. Or he would be... Let me backtrack that. He would be manipulating the metrics to make it seem like he has more attention than he really does, when it's really all just the same people over and over again. Ain't that silly?
And a lot of people have been saying you're live streaming every day and you're losing out on thousands of views a day because you're live streaming stuff that you don't really need to live stream. You're doing an ongoing, elongated playthrough of a game that has a lot of content. Why are you live streaming it every day? Why are you setting it up there and having to basically lose out on gaming time because I have all the setup and the pre-stream and everything that I do every single day, right? And I have to adhere to this schedule where I have to staunchly be here at certain...
No, you don't have to staunchly be there. You chose to be there. I can actually explain that. The reason why is, one, when Phil started doing, this is some Tevin lore. Well, this is lore that Tevin has told people, and that's told us, I should say. So I'm just kind of telling you. Okay, so the lore is that when Phil started streaming, right, and he did his pre-streams, someone started uploading those pre-streams. They used to take the pre-streams, upload them. I don't know if they were monetizing them or not. It don't matter. But they were uploading his pre-streams. Eventually, Phil ended up catching wind, so he started doing it himself. So now he was like, oh, well, I can go ahead and actually upload my pre-stream as a separate video and actually put ads on it. Bang. Now, the streams themselves. If he's streaming, right, he thinks he's getting all these views, these ghost or phantom views, and then he can take that footage, chop it up, and turn them into individual videos. So essentially, he's doing everything at once. Streaming is his streamlined pignosis lazy work. He's covering all his bases at once. Now, a smart person, and he's kind of already said it, that doesn't make him smart, but I'm just saying, a smart individual would stream the first part of a playthrough and then just turn everything else into offline videos. Or I should say, he should play it offline. He should do that. Then the next week, premiere another new game and do that for two or three streams, and then do those offline, so on and so forth. He didn't want to do that. He just wants to be this lazy sack of shit and just stream it all, chop it all up, monetize it all, and that's it. He's looking at streaming as the easy way out, but he's not getting the payoff on the YouTube videos, which goes back to what I said earlier. Why the fuck would you want to watch the same thing twice? If you saw the goddamn thing live, why would you want to watch it again? Now, there are exceptions to that. Like, for example, if I'm watching a little bit of a James the Lesser stream, for example, right, and I don't get to watch all of it, okay, I'm gonna have to duck up out of the stream. But then I'll just watch the whole stream back later on. I do that for LSB, I do that for Tevin, I do that for a lot of people. That's different though. They're actually talking about something and I actually getting something out of it. It's not watching a fucking shit playthrough that's like 24 hours out of Phil with 7 or 8 hours of it just being dead air. There's a difference. If you watched all that dead air on stream, why the fuck would you want to go back and watch it again, knowing that Phil's not going to edit that stuff out?
Dates and times and stuff, and people are basically just saying, stop all of that. You're doing it too much, and you've oversaturated everything, and what you need to do is go back to the way you used to do it, where you just play games on your own, have fun with them, upload the videos, and yeah, for special occasions then, like the launch of a game or whatever, you should live stream.
Exactly, and his dumbass didn't do it. Because, yet again, he wanted the easy way out, and he thought he was just going to essentially bully them into accepting it. And it didn't work.
And I understand that, and I agree with that, and I also know that there's going to be a group of people, the people who are kind of my core audience, who are there every single day, no matter what I live stream, who are going to be disappointed in that, because they feel now betrayed. What the hell? I've been here for every live stream Phil's ever done, and now he's going to just cut back on live streams. How is that fair to us? And listen, I understand that. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. No matter what I do to change my business, hurts someone, right? Someone gets hurt. It's someone who's going to be kind of not screwed, but disappointed with whatever changes, and I get that, and that sucks. I know.
Yeah, I can understand that. Change is hard for everybody, but I'll use myself as the example. Like on the main channel, right? Like, I really like the commercials. The ones that, the one that James Lester made for me, the one that Chio18 made, and the ones that Sunspot Gallery made. I love them. So, I put them in. And now granted, all of that was just the rollouts. Those were just the showcases. But I went overboard. And people here in the newsroom said it. Hey, let's cut back on a few of them. You don't have to try to slide every one of them in or so on and so forth. And I was like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. And it actually was a little bit of a big deal. I was doing a little too much. And though I enjoy them, and though I was happy that other people enjoyed them, it was too much. And you got to scale stuff back. The thing is I can understand that, and then I can act upon it. Phil can't. Because with his excuse right there, he's essentially trying to turn the fan base against itself. Oh, well, half you guys are telling me to do this, but the other half, but the other half of you are going to suffer because of it. So I'm trying to please both of you, but I can't please both of you, but it's essentially your guys' fault that I have to do any of this in the first place. Because if you think about it from a reality standpoint, somewhat, if these idiots went ahead and just supported the streams and the YouTube videos, we wouldn't have a problem. And then for all of you who enjoy the streams and the YouTube videos, I wouldn't have to cut back because everybody else who's bitching and complaining would be there right along with you and be supporting the product. You see how that works?
That for a fact, the difference here is that I'm trying to be 100% transparent with you. And I think this is where all the drama happens with me and YouTube, is that I am transparent. I come out and I try to tell you everything going on behind the scenes, and I try to explain to you what's going on and why I'm making critical business decisions. Any other YouTuber probably would just say, well, I'm cutting back on live streaming, sorry everyone, and that's it. And there's no further discussion, and there's no explanation, they don't make multiple vlogs about it, and there's nothing about it, right?
You have no idea what you're talking about. And since he doesn't watch other content creators, allegedly, he wouldn't know what the fuck he's talking about. When people, especially bigger YouTubers, especially if you come from like the Call of Duty community, for example, those guys, if they have to cut back on their schedules, or if they got to change up, or if shit happens, they tell you. They usually make a short video. It doesn't have to be a goddamn pre-stream, and they're like, hey guys, I'm gonna have to switch things up. I'm gonna have to change things up here a little bit. No biggie. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll tell you at the end of one of the last videos, hey guys, moving forward, I'm gonna have to switch this up. You know what I'm saying? Because of work or school or whatever the case may be. This is just how it's gonna go, and whatnot, until I can get myself stable. All of you guys have heard this at one time or another from a content creator. The fuck is he talking about?
And you either accept it or you don't. But for me, I really care about the viewers, and I want you to understand why I'm doing something, right? If the
You don't care about them, you depend on them. There's a difference.
live streams every day were super popular, and there were a ton of people coming out for them, and they were profitable for me, then I would do it every day. But the bottom line is, it's not. You know what I mean?
Going back to what I said, because you fuckboys didn't come out there and support everything, you screwed me over, so in turn you screwed yourselves over. So if you guys are going to fight with each other, don't fight with me. Don't fight with Darksydephil, because I didn't do nothing to you. Take that amongst yourselves, because you guys screwed yourselves over.
I'm not getting any kind of a significant...
He's struggling. Phil, just come out and say you're not getting enough money to keep doing this. He's so scared to make it about money that he's fucking himself over, despite the fact that this is all about money. That's the reason why he's doing this. That's the reason why he put out the feelers about going back to Twitch, because he was always going to go back to Twitch because he heard about the money he can make. All of this is about money, but the facade, the pig lore, is that I'm doing this because I care about the content. It's not about the money. I don't do this for money. You guys have all heard that bullshit excuse, but in truth, it's always been about money, and that's why he's sitting here struggling and pig squirming the way he is now. That's sad. He's telling you that he's trying to be so transparent about the situation, except for he's not being transparent. He's trying to make you guys believe that it's just about the content. It's about the love for the content. It's just like, oh, it's about the love for the music, man. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't do this shit for money. Like, you know how like those musicians used to talk about back in the 60s and 70s shit. No, man, it's about the love for the music, man. It's about the people, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know me, I like watching documentaries and shit. Oh, it's all about the music, man. It's all about the people. In actuality, they work in deals behind the scenes to get fat-ass fucking, like, big-ass record deals and shit. On the surface, they tell everybody it's about the music to draw them in. And to draw them into not only their personality, but to the music. And by making it actually about the business, they can profit off of it. Phil's doing the exact same shit. He's an old man using an old man tactic. That's why you guys should watch documentaries. Because if you're not as old as Phil, watching documentaries, you learn some shit.
Viewership on these ongoing live streams, that's making it viable for me to keep doing it, especially if people are really feeling that it's hurting my overall viewership on my playthroughs because I'm streaming every day. It's just reality, okay? Now, what's happened is these past couple of days, I've been streaming, in particular, Pokemon Moon, okay? And I personally feel, and the people who've been here for the live streams at least, have...
Here comes the excuses. This should be fun.
...related to me that Pokemon Moon has been one of my best playthroughs in a long time. I'm completely engaged in the game. I'm doing little jokes and things, better commentary than I've done in a long time, and that has been a major criticism of my game playthroughs as of late, is that it seems like when I'm playing these longer form games, such as Dishonored 2, I'll bring another one, another good example, that game was great and I loved it, but there wasn't a ton of stuff to do crazy commentary on, you know what I mean? Unless I wanted to talk about completely off-topic stuff, which I don't like to do when I play games, there wasn't a lot of stuff to talk about during that game. It wasn't like, wow, here's a crazy observational thing that I could talk about. It's not like it's Heavy Rain or Until Dawn where there's hilarious stuff or silly stuff happening and you can make funny commentary and stuff about it. It wasn't like that at all. It was a lot of kind of the same kind of gameplay. It was fun gameplay, but it wasn't something that lent itself well to entertaining or engaging commentary. I feel that Pokemon Moon, at least up to this point, has been the opposite. Seeing new Pokemon, naming the new Pokemon, doing voice acting for all the main casts so far. There's been a lot of opportunity for great stuff in that playthrough, alright? But that being said, the viewership hasn't been great. The first day, as expected, the premiere was great. And since then, it's dipped. And yesterday, alright, on stream, at the beginning of the stream and end of the stream, I had this discussion with my viewer base because I wanted them to be prepared for the fact that I probably wasn't going to be live streaming much at all this week coming up. This particular week coming up is a holiday week. I'm going to be trimming my Christmas tree, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, where Leanna is working and I have to drive her to and from work. So there's a lot of times where I can't have a consistent schedule this week anyway, so I can't live stream a lot. And I basically made a promise to my viewer base on stream the past couple of days that if viewership was pretty decent for Pokemon Moon, that I would bust my ass basically to still try to live stream as long as I could this week until basically it wasn't viable anymore, which is probably about middle of this week. I can't live stream anyway, alright? And the bottom line is, the day one, the viewership was great. Day two, yesterday, the viewership wasn't great. We started out with a certain amount, and it just went all the way down, trailing down during the course of the stream. Now, for me, I can't figure it out. All right, I can't. Logically, I can't figure it out why that would happen because I'm enjoying the game. The people who are in stream chat are telling me that they're loving this stream. It's one of the best streams I've done. The viewer, you know, for a viewer who's engaged and liking that I'm engaged in the game, they're telling me that the content is great. So why is the viewership going boo during the course of the stream? I don't know, and I have to call bullshit because most people have come out and said, well, Phil, it's because your commentary isn't good. It's because your commentary has been boring as of late. It's been blasé. It seems like you're not engaged. You're not enjoying the...
Because he's forcing it. Because he's forcing it. That's why the commentary was garbage. Well, then he's never really been great at commentary anyway. Unless, yet again, he's a blunt tool. He's a blunt instrument. So he goes to fucking shit that's funny to him. Right? And he thinks it'll be funny to everybody else because they like him. Weird type of psychology, but... whatever, or sociology actually, but whatever.
Games you're playing, you're just doing this for a job, and that's why people aren't excited in your stuff. I have to call bullshit. Pokemon has been...
It's not bullshit, because it's true that you're just doing this for a job, you're just doing this for the views. We kind of already glossed over that. That's why you were sitting there struggling to basically tell them that, hey, this shit isn't profitable over here, which is the reason why I'm going to have to go back to Twitch, which is the reason why I'm going to cut back on streaming in the first place, because I'm not making enough money doing it. But in actuality, he has no real intention of really cutting back on streaming. He's just going to do it on another platform.
Anything
and
but
he
that...
knew that was going to split up his fan base. And he was okay with that.
Yeah. Alright? And it would be one thing if I was just going through the motions. I'm not with this game. I'm really actively working to make this an entertaining playthrough, and I'm entertained by the game, so I know that that's coming through in the videos. So when I see viewership going, boo, that tells me that that downward trend has nothing to do with actually what's coming through in the videos at all. Alright?
So basically saying, it's not my fault, I did nothing wrong, I did everything correct, you fuckboys screwed everything up.
And you have to look at it and say, well, what is it, right? What is the root cause of why a stream would have plummeting viewership when the stream is engaging and entertaining and fun? I don't get it, right? And, you know, I guess I should ask that kind of question publicly more often. Of course, I'm going to get a ton of bullshit answers from people who are only here to be dicks to me. You know what I mean? So,
i.e., answers I don't want to hear.
I don't know. I mean, the bottom line is if you watch the Pokemon playthrough, right, and you see that it's, I mean, I'm getting people who I don't even hear from are tweeting me now and saying, Phil, you know, I just started watching your Pokemon playthrough. It's great. You know, so if that's the feedback I'm massively getting, then obviously something else is going on. What is it? I don't know.
Because one person tells you that they're loving your playthrough, that right there is the voice of hundreds of thousands of people? Huh? Last time I checked, 10% of nothing is still nothing.
And I don't know how to fix it. You know, and that leads to frustration.
Yeah, you don't know how to fix much of anything, despite the fact that you said that when you're setting up your streams, you have to go through this process. You have to make sure everything's working. Maybe if you go into a snafu, or you have a bit of a setback, you have to fix that on the fly. But now you're saying you don't know how to fix this. So in actuality, you really don't know how to fix anything, to be honest. And the thing is if you actually listen to your fan base, instead of wanting them to fucking give you sugar-coated, cookie-cutter answers, then you wouldn't have this problem. But since you don't want to listen to any constructive criticism, that's the reason why he's in the bitch-made situation he's in now. That's not hard to figure out.
So what ended up happening yesterday, okay, is at the end of my stream, I looked at viewership, and I said, well, sorry everyone, but, you know, it looks like viewership plummeted today, and I don't know why, but as we've already had this conversation, all right, I'm not going to continue to live stream this game because it looks like people aren't coming out for it anymore. Now, admittedly, then, with my frustration in my head, I said something completely wrong, something I shouldn't have said, something that, of course, every motherfucker on the internet who steals my videos, who illegally records my streams, and who takes every fucking comment I ever say out of context to find that one moment when I say something wrong. Here's what I said. I'll publicly admit it because it's out there, duh. And I didn't mean it. As I said, well, it must just be that people are lazy. People want to see my streams, and people are asking me for streams, and they're begging me, and they're upset that I'm not going to live stream. But then when I do a great quality live stream, they don't show up, so they're just lazy.
A great quality live stream. Who's the one who graded that? Who's the one who qualified it as such and certified it? Oh, it's just you? Oh, just because you put out a quality product, everybody should just buy it up until it's sold out? No, that's not how that works. You don't dictate what's good and what isn't. It's the consumer. The people who you want to consume it are the ones who dictate if it's good or not. You can't just go out and say, hey guys, this playthrough is great, you should watch it, and if people watch it, they're like, nah, it's not that great. You can't get mad at them because they disagree with you. That's not how that works. And if they go off and tell their friends or tell other people, yeah, Phil's saying that this thing is really great, but it's really not. Or at least I don't think it's not, and here's my reasoning. Some people will still go off and look at it and see if it's true or not, but then other people will be like, oh, well, I'll just skip it. But you can't, no one puts out a quality product all the fucking time. No one's perfect, is basically what I'm trying to say. Except for Phil Burnell, apparently. And it's the world that's imperfect and evil and wrong.
Obviously, that's not actually what I feel. There's got to be something going on.
Why'd you say it? Why'd you say it if you didn't mean it? And you said it out of anger, too, which is more often than not means that you meant it. So why'd you say it then? Just saying. If it didn't get as much fanfare, if it didn't get as much fanfare as it did, would you still say you didn't mean it? Would you even have addressed it?
Right? To make people not feel engaged and not stick around for the length of a stream. I don't know what it is, because they used to. And again,
yeah, they used to. That was a long time ago, though. Maybe you're the problem. Maybe you're the problem. Just because they used to like something at one time doesn't mean they'll like it forever. Some of you who are watching this video now might like what I do. In a year, you might not. And that's okay. That's kind of, it's going to happen. It's going to eventually happen. There are people that I talk to now, or that I enjoy talking to now, I should say, that in a year they might just stop talking to me. It's just the reality. It just happens. Now, usually, and behind a lot of that, ladies and gentlemen, there's usually some reasoning. But since Phil don't want to listen to the reasoning, because it's going to be negative, and it's going to criticize him, then we have to have stupid moments like this. and we have to have basically have to have airhead fucking pictures like this or screenshots like this. Like, that's absolutely fucking egregious that a grown-ass man can't figure out what the fuck he's gonna do about his business that he's made over $1 million on. And yet again, his major problems, which he has addressed here, he's addressed them, but he doesn't want to act upon them. And since he's only putting himself at a deficit. And one of the greatest tricks that DSP has ever pulled is convinced people that if he's not around, that everybody else is going to be poor for it. And that's just not true.
I'll say this again. I'm not doing anything like differently than what I used to. When I'm engaged in a game and I'm doing great commentary and I'm actively engaged in it, and, you know, Pokemon in particular, reacting to the new Pokemon, the new abilities, naming the Pokemon, doing voice acting, I don't know how more engaged I could fucking be in a game, honestly. And I'm loving the game. That's the other thing I've been telling you.
It's boring because it's repetitive. Like, how about you try something different? You're doing all the things that you think people want instead of listening to what people want, which is the reason why you're failing in the first place. And it's because he can't put anybody before himself.
Everyone, I'm loving this game. I like Pokemon Moon a lot. It's fun because it's a new Pokemon game where I'm getting exposed to it for the first time along with everyone else, and I'm seeing the new Pokemon and the new evolutions and everything. I'm really liking this game and this playthrough. Like, I'm digging it. I want to keep doing it. I'm excited today.
He's overhyping the fuck out of this. And that's rather sad because he shits on other people for trying to overhype stuff. But look at what he's doing. Actually, if you think about it, has any of you guys seen that picture? I'm sure you have. You're on Twitter or whatnot. That picture of Onision when he has his shirt off and he's like, and he has both his fists clutched, and he's like, ah! Like he's trying to do a fake power up from Dragon Ball Z or some shit. That's what Phil looks like right here. He's just an out of shape slob gouty version of that.
To jump on stream and continue with Pokemon Moon. And I'll be real honest with you, I can't say that for every game that I play. There's some games that after 1 or 2 sessions, okay, I get what the game is. Oh, great, there's another 10 hours of gameplay. Well, I got to go through it now. This is not the case.
Wait. I pointed this out before. So you faked all the reactions that you had with all those other video games. And I say that because Phil pretty much overhypes every game that he plays. Pretty much. But now he's telling you, well, you know, some of those other playthroughs, I kind of just had to go through the motions with it. I didn't really like them. They weren't really that entertaining. I may have faked a lot of that. I mean, as long as he's given his track record with Panda in the bedroom, I can see why he should be used to being faked. Anyway, I had to go ahead and over embellish some of my reactions to that. But this time, though, I'm telling you guys the truth. I really love it. Wow.
Pokemon Moon. I'm very excited to jump back into it on a daily basis, alright? But because I said this one thing that obviously I apologize for and it's wrong. I mean, anyone said Phil just called his viewers lazy. They're not coming out to the streams because they're lazy. No, I don't think that's what it is.
That's what you said.
Something going on. I don't know what it is, but there's something obviously going on that's not engaging viewers on my live streams. I don't know what it is.
So your first reaction was, I did nothing wrong. I did everything correct. It must have been their fault. It must have been their fault. And you know he did that on purpose because that's what Phil always does. The first thing he does is he X's himself out of the situation. He justifies why he did everything right, and he's not at fault. And then who's next to blame? The viewers. Then Tevin, and then the rest of the detractor community. He always X's himself out of the situation first. Always. And then everybody else is up for grabs. Everybody else is to blame. It's just a matter of who can. Excuse me. It's just a matter of what surface the pig shit will stick
on. Because I said that, that's it. So the whole internet now has to turn me a new asshole because Phil said something at the end of his stream on fucking Saturday. So that's it. So now you got these kids who literally, and I'm not looked at stream numbers all day. My God, the stream numbers were terrible. Wow, what happened? We never even, hold on. I'm actually trying to go back here. Did we ever even get close to 400? We didn't, did we? At least from what I can see. I can't see the entire length of the stream, but from what I can see, which is back till around like 3 p.m., it looks like we barely even had 300 on stream. Wow. I don't know what's going on. Listen, here's the bottom line, and I'm tired of it now. No more excuses, all right? Because the bottom line is people are like, Phil's not engaged in his commentary, and Phil's commentary is boring, and that's why people don't want to watch the playthroughs of the streams. Bullshit. I'm loving this game. I'm voice acting. I'm engaged. I'm commentating on everything that's going on actively. Bullshit. I call massive bullshit on any idiot who says that about either the Watch Dogs 2, which I've been playing recently and really liking, or Pokemon. It's bullshit. I call complete and utter bullshit on anyone who's saying that I'm not engaged and I sound like I'm bored. I'm not. So I've had enough excuses. It just seems to me like people are fucking lazy and don't want to come out to the streams. I don't even know what else to say, you know? Jim Bob says that at one point we had around 350. Well, I mean, this is kind of ridiculous that I can't even get 400 people for a live stream anymore of new games. You know what I mean? It would be like... New games. It's one thing if this were like an old game that I was playing, it was boring, and, you know, it was an older game most people didn't care about. It's a brand new game. And I can't even get 400 people on stream. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm not kidding. This is not an exaggeration. There's kids who literally every day record my entire fucking stream illegally, which is completely illegal. You can't record anyone's live streams or videos on YouTube. They do it, and they take that one moment. They don't have any of the discussion about how my business is down, how I really need help, and I'm trying to get suggestions for improvement, and one of the major suggestions for improvement has been to cut down on live streaming, and we had this whole experiment this week with Pokemon, that if attendance stayed up, that I would keep streaming, and that it didn't stay up, and all of a sudden it was down, and I was very disappointed at that. None of that in context. The one thing...
It was all an experiment. So instead of putting out a quality stream, we have to manipulate the situation to see what the outcome is, if I'm going to keep doing it or not. So he's not actually playing the game to enjoy it. He's playing the game to see what he can get out of you guys. You guys caught that? Wow.
That's put up Phil saying, man, these people are really lazy because they're not coming out to watch my streams. Of course that makes me look like a fucking piece of shit. Of course it does. And people...
Well, you are a piece of shit, to be honest. I mean, it is what it is. It is the reality of it all.
People say, well, how's it out of context if you said it? Because you didn't give the whole fucking perspective of everything that's been going on for the past fucking month.
So they have to backtrack through a month of your bullshit to go ahead and justify something that you said out of anger in like 10 or 15 seconds. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this clip that's been going around or whatnot. Yeah, since you guys don't have the backstory, that right there makes it invalid. So now you guys need to go ahead and spend the next month. You have to backtrack a month through all my playthroughs and through all my pre-streams and everything to kind of get the gist of what I was feeling. So now everything will be put into context after that. That's mental attrition. By the time you get to that point, you won't care. Wow.
Of course it's out of context. Of course it makes me look bad. Duh. But the problem is people don't fucking do the research. They don't take the 5 seconds to figure out what the situation was.
Why the fuck would anybody have to? Why would anybody feel obligated to? Like, why? You want people to now do research on you to find out why the fuck you went ahead and act like a goddamn asshole. Which means they would have to pry into your life, which means they would find stuff that you wouldn't want them to find or you wouldn't want them to bring up, and it's just going to make things worse for you. What the fuck are you talking about?
They just watch the one thing and say, well, Phil's a piece of shit. Wow.
Well, you are a piece of shit. And as you said at the beginning of this video, you come up out your fucking snout and say stupid shit 4 or 5 million times over your last 8 years. That means you've been considered, that means you're kind of a piece of shit 4 or 5 million times. I mean, obviously he's exaggerating and I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Every time he says something that's put out that makes him look like a piece of shit, it made him look like a piece of shit. But that's happened multiple times. So who's really at fault for it? The people who captured it and put it on and put it up online, or who spotlighted it, if you will, or the idiot who keeps saying stupid shit. Something to think about.
Phil is a major piece of shit. To say something like that makes Phil a piece of shit. And you know what? If I knew nothing about myself, and I knew nothing about my 8 years on YouTube, and I knew nothing about the frustration and what I'm going through right now with my business, and I knew nothing about any perspective whatsoever, and all I saw was a video that says DSP Gaming says his viewers are lazy, and I clicked on it, and the one thing you hear is, wow, my viewers are lazy because they didn't come to my live stream, I would hate me too. But that's not reality, and that's not life, right? That's not the truthfulness of the situation.
And this idiot really expects you to go back and he really expects you to go back and research his shit and give him the benefit of the doubt. When in actuality, watch my videos and dig through it. So you're basically paying me to go through my videos and whatnot. And so I can get all that. And then by the end of it, I don't give a shit what you think. That's insane. But here's another thing, ladies and gentlemen, since you know, he feels like you shouldn't take you shouldn't read a book by its cover. How many times has he shitted on other YouTubers or other streamers talking out of his goddamn ass on some dumb shit he may have saw on Twitter or something? How much research did he do on them? How much did he look into their background and try to understand what their situation was before they did something? No, he didn't do that. He just reported what he saw. So it's funny how it's okay for everybody else, but it's not okay for him. He wants to sit here and be a goddamn hypocrite and judge, or, sorry, give his opinion on a situation that someone asked him about, knowing little to anything about it, and it's okay, but if someone else does it, it's wrong, and they're hurting him in his business.
And quite honestly, that's why people hate me on YouTube. That is definitively number one, the reason that people hate me on YouTube. It's not that I said that. It's that some fucking idiot spins it to say that's the only thing Phil ever said. Here's the negative thing Phil said. It would be like if President Obama of the United States...
I did nothing wrong. I did everything correct. It's everybody else's fault and whatnot. They were the ones who did it. He just told you. You want to know why people hate me? Not because I said it. It's because other people put a spotlight on it. They're the ones you should be mad at, not me. Don't worry about what I said. Worry about what people did with what I said. Get the fuck out of here.
States at one time was really frustrated about one thing, and he made an underhanded or a comment that really wasn't characteristic of 95...
Can't even look at you as he's saying all this because he knows it's bullshit. He's literally doing everything he can to avoid looking at the camera.
5% of the stuff that maybe Obama would ever say, and he said this one thing, but that's the only thing that was on the fucking internet today was Obama said this one thing. Everyone would think that he's an asshole, right? But the bottom line is that he has all this other positive spin coverage too. And that's the thing is, I don't get the positive spin. All I get is the negative for years.
So now you want spin. So basically what he's saying is he wants people to lie on his behalf when he fucks up. He feels that he's entitled to that, I should say. Wow. For some people, the internet's a dangerous place.
An entire 15-hour playthrough of what Phil did and take the 1.5 hours out of it where he really sucked and or was really frustrated and or said stuff that could be, you know, insinuated as being insulting, take it completely out of context of the whole playthrough and say this was his playthrough of this game, when in reality that's not what it was. It was a 15-hour long playthrough where for a good 10 plus hours the content was good, there was fun stuff, I was succeeding at the game, I wasn't blaming the game developers, I wasn't going crazy swearing and insulting people, but that's the thing. Take the one negative out of context, make the video about it, well, hands off, and I got my views for today, making Phil look like a piece of shit. And that's what it is. That's the reality of my daily existence here on fucking YouTube. All right. Now here's...
He did it to everybody else, and he didn't care what they were going through. Oh, they were too big. They couldn't fail anyway. Well, you weren't too big to fail, so oh well. Lesson learned.
Here's the thing. I want to say something. I want to say thank you to those who from an outside perspective see this, all right, and they kind of like wake me up to reality, because the bottom line is, you know, yesterday the stream went offline and I didn't think anything of it, and I uploaded my videos like usual and I played Watch Dogs and all this, and I really didn't hear anything all day.
So basically he didn't feel bad for what he said. He went on along with his day. Then that shit got spread around. Then he got mad and he felt like he had to address it. So if he didn't hear anything, or if this didn't get blown up the way it did, he would have never addressed it and he would have never apologized. How disingenuous is that?
Or anything, and all of a sudden overnight apparently I got a bunch of tweets In regards, it's Rich from Review Tech USA, who watched the video from the kid who steals my stuff on a daily basis, that piece of shit, watches this fucking out of context video, and he tweets me and he says, Phil, you know, this video is the reason why people are turned off to your streams and turned off to you as a person on YouTube and your content. This is why people hate you on YouTube, because of comments like this. And I look at it and immediately I'm like, but this is a completely out of context comment.
And that's his first response. He looks at the situation, he's like, but I didn't do anything wrong. They took it, it's not my fault they took it the wrong way. That's not my burden to bear. That they're too fucking stupid to understand what I was actually trying to say. That's their fault. He's literally saying that now. He's literally saying that. Oh, Rich, why are you bringing this up to me? Talk to the assholes who took that out of context. That ain't my problem. That ain't my fault. I didn't do anything. Wow.
Right? It's the one moment of weakness where I said something bad that I openly admit now. I apologize for it. It was wrong. I shouldn't.
Yeah, you're apologizing for it now because you got no fucking choice, and your baby backs are on the grill for it. That doesn't make it look. That doesn't. What's the point of that?
I said that, and it's certainly not the case. I don't think my viewers are lazy. That's bullshit. And that was just the frustration.
Bullshit. You're the one who said it. Are you saying that you're a liar? Are you saying that your opinions of? Are you going to literally go ahead and say that your words are garbage and bullshit? No. You're going to spin it and make it look like that piece of shit kid. It's their fault. Fuck boy.
No, it's coming out of me and me saying it wrong. I don't think my viewers are lazy. I just think there's something fucking going on. I got to figure out what it is, right?
And
what is that?
You thought figuring out what it was to call people lazy. A scumbag.
Core thing that doesn't keep someone engaged for a live stream. I don't know what it is right now. I don't get it. You know?
Sorry, Mr. Valedictorian, that you're not smart enough to figure out how to please people. Yet again, I can see why Cat's gonna eventually leave, but I can see why Panda left.
And so, you know, he said, you know, this is the kind of thing that happens that makes you look bad. And you know, I appreciate that feedback. But what I wish Rich wouldn't do would be saying that publicly on Twitter, because then what happens is, oh wow,
you know that's disingenuous. Oh, I appreciate your opinion, Rich, but don't do that in public though. Send that to me in private so I can ignore it and act like I never heard it. Which goes back to something Rich said recently, where he tried to reach out to DSP and DSP never reaches back. I wonder why. I wonder why.
Phil said that Phil's a piece of shit. They don't see in context. Again, Rich sees it, and Rich kind of knows my history, and Rich kind of knows there's a bunch of kids who fucking make it their life's work to just make my life miserable. He gets that, because he gets a lot of that too on YouTube. He gets a lot of that kind of hate. In fact, a lot of the same people who hate on me hate on him on a daily fucking basis.
Now, I like I said, you guys know me. I'm no fan of Rich at all. But the fact that he tried to transfer the bullshit onto Rich and whatnot, because at first he's trying to make it sound like, oh, Rich understands what I'm going through because people fuck with him too, and then he kind of tried to push the pig shit on him. I don't like that. There's something about that that's very scummy to me, which shows you what kind of scumbag Phil Burnell is. At least that's the way I see it.
It's kind of weird that we have nothing to do with each other. We barely ever talk. We have like no relation. Even our content is vastly different, yet we still get the same kind of hate. So obviously there you're kind of seeing a pattern, right? And it doesn't really have to do with the content or whatever someone's coming out. It just seems that there's certain people that gravitate towards other people on YouTube and attack the fuck out of them. I'm just saying.
And the only reason why he wanted Rich to reach out to him in private is because Rich is a bigger content creator than he is, and he has more people that follow him on Twitter, and all of them are going to see it. That's the real reason. So basically, if you have a criticism of me, and you're bigger than I am, you need to hide that. You need to do that in private. Excuse me. You need to do that in private. I don't need you embarrassing me in front of other people, giving more fuel to the fire. Wow.
But anyway, Rich sees this, and he tweets it, and he's well-intentioned, and I appreciate that he tweeted it, because I look at it like, wow, Rich is right. Looking at just that moment of what I said, completely out of context, makes me look like a piece of shit, and he's absolutely fucking right. And I shouldn't say stuff like that publicly, and that's a shortcoming of mine, because I'm so real, because I talk about this stuff with you, and I share this personal experience with you on YouTube all the time. Stuff like that, I'm
so real. Okay. Sure, buddy. Sure.
A mistake comes out, and that's what becomes the focus of the negative assholes on YouTube, right? But at the same time, I don't think Rich realizes that when he makes tweets like that, especially when it's 5 in the fucking morning for me and I'm asleep and I can't respond to it, that all it does is cause...
What the fuck does that even mean? Who cares? If you couldn't respond to it, what? You thought you were going to go ahead and shift the opinions of everybody who follows Rich who saw that tweet? No. So what the fuck are you talking about? That's fucking retarded. Like, that sounds like someone who doesn't understand how social media works.
Problems for me, because when he tweeted that, immediately all his viewership went and watched the fucking video. So all that happened is that hundreds, if not thousands, of people who follow his Twitter went and watched the video and said, wow, DSP's a piece of shit, instead of understanding the whole situation, the whole context of everything. So I really wish, and I actually just said this on Twitter, I really wish that if other YouTubers want to have some kind of a discourse with me about what's going on or whatever, PM me or email me, darksydephil@hotmail.com. It's easy to reach me. And Twitter is not always the best avenue to do that, especially when you know that there's going to be a public eye on stuff like that. And the bottom line is, yeah, maybe a couple hundred to a couple thousand people may have seen that video of that idiot who records everything that I do, the out of context, video. Okay, but now because Rich tweeted it, now a lot more people are going to see it. And that's actually negative to me. It actually hurts me. Even though it makes me understand, oh, wow, I see what's going on, it ends up hurting me even further. I don't think he gets that. Okay.
And that's him saying that Rich is a fucking idiot. Thanks, Rich, for fucking me over. Which leads to a lot of the animosity that Phil has for Rich. But on top of that, though, think about everything he just said. Oh, if you guys have a criticism of me or you guys want to point something out to me, PM me, email me, so on and so forth. Did he do that for Pro Jared? Did he send Pro Jared a DM and be like, hey, man, this is my opinion of this? Did he send him an email? Did he hit him up on Tinder? Did he do any of those things? No. He dogpiled on him just like everybody else did so he could get himself some online clout. So it's funny how when Rich decides to go ahead and smack Phil down, it's wrong and you're hurting his business. But Pro Jared's open game because he slighted me he disparaged me in a tweet from like 3 years ago, and it was time to get my up and comings. It was time for the gouty viper to strike back. Fucking hypocrite. Absolute scumbag, chewing on water.
So now to end this video, allow me to explain many things, because I want to clarify for everyone definitively the truth of the matter. Because the bottom line is what you hear from everyone else on the fucking internet, and what you hear from this video over here, and this tweet over here, and these shitheads over here is...
Now you saw how Rich basically got thrown in with the rest of us? Yeah, basically. He got thrown in with the rest of us now. Because it wasn't useful to him, that tweet that Rich did. Oh, well, you're a detractor too, so fuck you. You just get thrown in with everybody else. That's exactly what he just did. Funny, huh? And that goes in actuality, the Rich tweet goes back to what we were talking about earlier about people who were giving him constructive criticism, but then they insulted him at the end of it. And that made it useless to him because, oh, well, you took time to take another shot at me? Fuck you, it don't mean nothing. Just like with that tweet from Rich.
Not the truth. What you hear from me is the bottom line when it comes to myself and my stuff, all right? Number one.
Because Snort Cold said so? Oh, that would make an amazing shirt. Fuck that, that'd make an amazing logo. Oh, I have ideas.
I am not quitting Pokemon Moon. There's this big mass just misunderstanding. I must have gotten like 20 to 30 messages in the past day. Are you quitting Pokemon Moon? I'm like, no. Where did anyone get that idea from? Never once ever in this entire discussion did I say that I was going to stop playing this game that I love. And then I give it, well, Phil, since you're quitting Pokemon Moon, you're a piece of shit. You're only doing this for money, obviously. I'm like, what? What? I'm not quitting Pokemon Moon. I love the game. I haven't even looked at viewership on YouTube to see if the videos are getting any views. I don't care. Pokemon Moon is...
He'd already told us early on that you had that the viewership on YouTube was low. What do you... The contradictions hurt, ladies and gentlemen. The contradictions hurt. They really do.
It's the kind of game that I know I can play at length. It doesn't have to be a rushed game. It could be a game that I play at length and I balance with other games. So even with other company games like Final Fantasy 15 and other stuff, I can play Pokemon Moon potentially on and off till the end of the year as a fun playthrough, right? And I don't feel any pressure, right? I don't. I feel like the least pressure of all the games I'm playing, I feel like that's like the least pressure kind of game where I could just play it at my own pace and have fun with it. It just so happens right now, it released on Friday, I'm having a ton of fun with it, so I'm playing it heavily now, but I'm not pressured to have to rush and finish the game or anything like that. And I don't understand where this mentality is coming from, that people think I'm quitting the game. I never said that. I may stop live streaming it, but I'm not quitting it. That's when I'm really enjoying a game, I'm not going to just quit it out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I'll find a way. If I'm really enjoying a game, I'll balance it. And I'll make a comparison.
Oh, I'll balance it. So basically saying, well, I'm not going to quit it. I'm just putting it on break. Or what we call now, we just chill stream it. You know what I mean? We're just going to put it on the back burner. Don't worry, it'll come back eventually. We call that wage quitting in 2020.
Here. Compared to a game that I'm doing and I'm really not enjoying it, I'm not going to continue it. And there's a lot of people who, you know, well, Phil didn't finish this playthrough and Phil quit this playthrough. He rage quit this playthrough. If I'm not enjoying it, why the fuck would I keep playing it? You know? That's my mentality. The whole reason I'm doing videos for YouTube is to play games, to show you what the games look like from a common gamer's perspective, to express my opinion on that game live, and if it's a game that's great, I'll keep playing it, and if it's a game that's okay, I'll probably still keep playing it. It's a game that I feel is...
basically, it's about It's not about any of you. He gives no fucks about any of you. At the end of the day, it's not about entertaining you. It's about what entertains him and what he can profit off of. Period. He gives no fucks about people on YouTube. Or Twitch. He never did.
Absolutely god fucking awful. Like Homefront this year? Are you fucking kidding me? Why the fuck would I have continued to play that piece of shit? No Man's Sky? I gave that game more than enough of my fucking time, and it's a fucking stinking piece of crap. You know what I mean? I will stop playing them. So, yeah, I love Pokemon Moon. There's no reason why I would stop. I mean, yeah, it might be balanced. It might be a drawn-out playthrough. I'm not going to quit playing Pokemon Moon. All right, that's number one. Number two, please, I have to implore you. When you see or hear something that I say that seems out of context, that seems weird for me, Phil normally wouldn't just insult the viewers out of blue and say that they're lazy. I mean, Phil live streams 365 days a year. Phil puts out gameplay videos 365 days a year. Out of the 365 days, were there 2 days this year where maybe he said something that didn't seem right? You know what I mean? But that's the focus that everyone's got to fucking talk about, because they got to get their cheap views, they got to get their cheap attention, because they're scumbags. Those people have nothing to add positively to the planet. They don't. Because when you focus only on negativity, that means you have nothing positive or constructive to say.
And this is coming from someone who named himself the King of Hate. And to reduce someone having a constructive or negative opinion of you, to call them worthless, to the point where, excuse me, to call them worthless and say they have no worth to life. Think about that. He's not saying, oh, they have no value in, or they have no, no grounds in my community or in the gaming community at large, or even on YouTube. No, they have no value in life. That's what he's saying. Negative pieces of shits like that, there's no room for them on this planet. What the hell does that mean? So everybody should be killed because they don't agree with you and your shitty Let's Plays? Think about that.
And that's the reason why they exist, because they can get attention for themselves by feeding off of the moment of weakness of someone else. So I had this one moment of weakness.
Stop being weak then.
Please, when you see stuff like that, don't take it as the end-all fucking be-all of who I am. All right?
So basically what he's saying is, I fuck up, I'm going to keep fucking up, ignore everybody who points out my fuck-ups. Ignore the fuck-ups altogether. I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to try to get better. I'm not going to try to be a better person. I'm a negative piece of shit, the king of hate, and you guys are going to have to deal with it. Just don't pay attention to the other people who make a big deal of it.
And I know now I'm really only talking to my core fan base, and it's far too late for a video like this to have any kind of impact on the commonality of the YouTube viewer. The common YouTube viewer thinks I'm a piece of shit because there's so many videos out there of those moments of weakness that are out of context. You don't understand the situation and where I'm coming from and why I would have been so frustrated or just so overwhelmed at the time that I would say something stupid, right? That stupid thing becomes me. It becomes synonymous with me as the person on YouTube, and people look and say, wow, when I search for DSP Gaming, Phil said this nasty about his viewers today. He said this nasty about something 6 months ago. Oh my God, last year in 2015, Phil said this and this and this. Wow, did you know that in 2010, Phil was on Blip TV, and he made a joke about the Jews and Nazis? Oh my God, once ever, Phil made a horrendous joke, learned his lesson, never made that kind of joke ever again, and repeatedly apologized for it and explained that that joke was actually copied off of the Howard Stern show, which is a completely different animal than what people thought it was. But
first off, it's irony that this is happening, Phil, because someone has actually made a request, big ups to them, about going over the Blip TV situation. Not going to be good for you. Secondly, you didn't necessarily apologize for it. You tried to suck off the people at Blip to let you come back on because you said it was your first offense, despite the fact that you actually fucked up multiple times and they were looking to get you off of there either which way. Third, and most importantly, you blamed it on trolls for pointing out what the situation was and bringing it to their attention, which ended up actually getting you kicked off. You didn't apologize repeatedly for jack shit. See? I mean, I was going to do the request anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. But damn, Phil, you're just making this a whole lot easier. A whole lot easier.
Man, we still got to bring that shit up, right? And that's the thing. People just find these moments of things.
It's not too hard to find. He has a bunch of them. He already told you. He already illustrated his ignorance to you. And his moments of weakness in air quotes. It's funny, if he fucked up once or twice, he might have some grounds to stand on. But he's literally telling you, I say stupid shit all the fucking time. And I'm not going to stop. Deal with it. But don't let these people keep pointing it out and making me look bad.
Kidding. That moment in 2010, people still bring up to this day. And it's like, are you kidding me? 6 fucking years ago, you still bring it up? One thing that happened? And it's
bringing up 10 years. Well, it's 10 years from now. 10 years now. It's been 10 years later, and I still bring it up. It is what it is. Sorry, Phil. You're older than I am, so I can. It's still new to me. So it is what it is.
It's out of control. So this video is obviously not for the common YouTube viewer. I really don't feel that a vlog like this, nothing that I do at this point, would ever make people change their common opinion about me, because there's so much of that take the one moment of weakness, and that's become who I am on YouTube, because I show those moments of weakness. How many other YouTubers have these pre-streams, have these behind-the-scenes videos, have vlogs like this? A lot of YouTubers, it's just the content. Here's the content, this is all you see of me, right? And that's it, and I'm not like that. I've always had this interactive relationship. Like I said at the very beginning of this video, this interactive, organic relationship with my viewing audience, and it is...
Too bad you couldn't have that with your former fiancé, or your wife, or your former best friends back in Connecticut. It's funny how you can't have that organic relationship with anybody else. Just a bunch of faceless people online.
A double-edged sword, because in a lot of ways it's great to have that transparency and to feel like I have this personal connection with the people who have made me popular on YouTube and allowed me to do this as a job. But at the same time, when I have a moment of weakness, it stabs me right in the fucking foot or the ass or the balls or whatever the fuck you want to say, right? And it really does frustrate me. So please, when you hear that shit, you gotta understand the one moment, when you think of that one moment when I did something fucked up, please compare it to the other ridiculous amount of moments where I didn't fuck up and the amount of enjoyment that you got out of my stuff. Because I think, unfortunately, what happens on YouTube is you get this kind of black and white judgment system, right? It's either the person's amazingly good or a piece of shit. It's one or the other. There's no gray area. Now, in reality, we're all a gray area. We're all human. We all have positives and negatives. We don't all show them publicly on YouTube, but in reality, we're all like this. We all have moments of greatness and moments of weakness. And
you haven't really had any moments of greatness, so we can piss on that turd. And your moments of weakness outweigh your moments of alleged greatness. And because all of it's public, because you're putting it all out for profit, and everybody knows that, is the reason why you're treated the way you are. It's not like you put out content just for the pure pleasure of it. And I'm not saying that I have a problem with him making YouTube videos and putting it out for a profit. What I am saying is that he can't be mad that people are going to criticize his mistakes that he put out online for profit. He could have edited it out, but he didn't. He put it up there because he didn't give a fuck, because he wanted his views. And he got it.
For me, because
it's not like when a detractor grabs his footage, and that view that they gave him, it's not like he doesn't get paid for it. It's not like the detractor view doesn't count unless AdBlock is on. Then that's different.
So we have been the focus on YouTube for so many people. That's why I'm seeing as such a negative thing on YouTube when so many others don't show that side of anything, you know? And when I come out here and I make a video and I say, man, I feel my videos are the best Let's Plays on YouTube because they're raw and unedited, and I'm not doing a paid advertisement like these other shills, and I'm not doing the cheap thing over here like a reaction video to a movie or a trailer for cheap views because I'm busy working on games. Yes, I do.
I want people to give me the benefit of the doubt, but watch how I shit on other people and how they get their money.
Feel pride in my own work. Yes, I do feel that what I'm doing is good, but I'm not saying that other stuff can't also be good. But when I say stuff like that, people take it that way because it kind of sounds like that, even though that's not what I mean. I don't always express myself.
You're saying that these people do this type of content for cheap views, and that's not supposed to be taken as disrespectful?
The right way, and people take that shit and say, oh, you're so elitist and you're so fucking up in your high castle of, you know, your ego, and you don't understand that you're not the best thing on YouTube. No fucking shit. Like, of course I know I'm not the best thing on YouTube, right? Now, I don't think that the things that are popular on YouTube are necessarily the best things on YouTube either. I actually think that there's a lot of high-quality stuff on YouTube that no one sees because of the way YouTube works. And I said that for years, that YouTube's system now is broken to the point where people can just follow a formula. And because they follow a formula, they get popularity on YouTube and make money, which is ridiculous because YouTube is not supposed to be a website where you follow a formula of production values, of having big bucks, and you know, putting a ton of time and effort into a fucking highly produced video to put out on YouTube like it's a highly...
That's what people want. Yet again, the population, the audience is what dictates that. And the funny thing is, right, is if it's a try and true method to follow this method, this cookie cutter path, if you will, then what's his problem from not doing it if it's tried and true? And it works. Why would you not do that? Like, the excuses he's giving you are just that, excuses, and they're useless. They're worthless.
Made television program, and then you put it out and now it gets 1 million views. That's not what YouTube is about. That's
YouTube
never
wasn't meant for you to make money and try to make a living off of it either. And yet you did it. And you don't even appreciate you did it. Or you didn't even appreciate what was given to you, the opportunity that was given to you, I should say, to actually do it. YouTube was not made so you could fucking do this for a living. So you could make a living off of it. It wasn't meant for that. But he don't ever tell you that, though. He always makes it sound like, oh, I had no choice. I got fired in 2010, and it was my only option. No, you made it your only option. You chose to take the easy way out, and which is what it was. And you failed ever since. Because the moment YouTube started to become like work, he didn't want to do anything. And that's what it came down to. When people asked him to put in effort, those people got shut out. Or they slowly got pushed out.
what it's been about, but ever since Google bought it out, they completely fucked the business and changed it into something it's not, and it's terrible to see what they've...
You should be lucky Google bought it, because if it was going the way it was going, more than likely it would have tanked. Then what, asshole?
Done with this business, because it is a shame that you cannot do what I became popular for on YouTube. It can never become popular again. People all the time say to me,
you're a fucking liar. First off, people still do what Phil does. They do it better, and more importantly, they do it with better quality. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. It's not like Phil broke the goddamn mold. People did it better. Phil had complaints on him from day one. His shitty personality is the thing that really hurts him. It hurts him more than anything. His gameplay is garbage. Let's not get that twisted. But his shitty ass personality is what really fucks him. But he thinks that's the key draw for him, and so he don't want to give it up, despite the fact that he admits that it hurts him.
Phil, how do I become a Let's Player like you and get popular? And my answer is you can't. You can't. You can't do that on YouTube anymore.
Don't let anybody tell you you can't do something. Period. And don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do something. Just because he's a failure doesn't mean you're a failure, or doesn't mean you'll fail at it. You may not get the notoriety of the people that you admire, but you can cut out a niche for yourself. And as long as you're willing to do what needs to be done to obtain your goals, you'll get there. It'll take time, but you'll get there. But don't sit there and let some ass clown, especially some ass clown online who's already failed, tell you you can't do something. Don't let somebody who's successful tell you you can't do something. It doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? Just because they failed at something, or just because they can't do something anymore, doesn't mean that you can't. Phil Burnell is not the first person to fucking find internet stardom on YouTube or make $1 million off YouTube or off the internet in general. He won't be the last. The only thing is people have made more money off of him in a shorter amount of time, and he can't live with that, because when he finds out the amount of work that went into it, he wasn't willing to do that. Piss on that turd.
That's not what YouTube is. YouTube changed their entire business multiple times to the point where if you just do something like that, a grassroots effort, it'll never become popular. They have completely destroyed that. And I understand that. I'm not stupid, but
You are stupid.
I'm lucky enough that I started early enough that I still have a viewer base for what I do, and I need to find a way to maintain that and somehow find a little bit of growth. And that's the problem, is every time I get a little
How's it going with that bankruptcy, Phil?
growth, it leaves. Earlier this year, I had a ton of growth.
You had a little bit of growth and it leaves, and you don't understand that it might be something wrong with you. If people keep coming to you and then they keep leaving, maybe there's a problem with you, or the content, or both. And since theoretically, Phil, you are your content, I think that's the core of the problem.
All my channels were doing better, and then all of a sudden this summer, and I have no explanation why, and no one can tell me why. Not one person has stepped up and said, definitively, here's what happened, Phil. You said this, and it turned everyone off. No one said that. And it wasn't like, it's just, how could it be?
How would you even know that when you don't want to hear any criticism? You've already admitted that, too. Oh, boy. Like shooting piggies in them? Well, not shooting piggies. That's kind of hurtful. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's kind of like shooting piggies in a pig pen. It's really easy. Jesus Christ.
Popular one day and unpopular the next. I don't get it.
It's the internet. People fade out. People find reasons to fade other people out. People just move on. It's the reality.
KO Gaming was doing ridiculously well. Ridiculously well. And then all of a sudden, the videos just don't get attention anymore. I'm like, what happened? I didn't change. I'm putting out the same kind of quality content. I'm covering the new games. This is what people said they wanted to see for the rest of the year. Where did the attention go? Why do I have 24,000 subs on KO Gaming and I'm only getting like 5,000 to 7,000 views a video? I don't know. What happened? How do you get that much?
Why do you have between 160 and 180,000 views, subs on DSP Gaming, and you can't pull 10,000 views consistently? I mean, if you want to bring numbers, Phil, I can bring you numbers. We can do that. I'm okay with that. I'll go out of my way for you, Phil, if you want me to. It's no problem.
I don't get it. If anyone can figure that shit out, that's what I need to fucking know, alright? I don't need to hear the one moment of weakness where I insulted I insulted people because I was fucking so frustrated about stuff, and obviously I'm an idiot for saying that, and I apologize for it. That doesn't help. And I think these idiots who they think that we're just exposing Phil and we're making him see who he really is so that he'll improve. That doesn't make me improve, you idiot! Putting a one out of context video on the internet doesn't fucking help me improve. Are you...
So you think sitting here screaming, calling them idiots is going to help your case? And yet again, this goes back to a reoccurring thing that plenty of people in his life has told him, that he can't damage control for shit. He really can't. And this is what happens when you're an emotional little bitch. And this is what happens when your father don't step the fuck up and do what he's supposed to, and your mommy keeps you close to the tit all the time. This is what happens when you run your mouth and you're so pathetic that the people who should have given you an ass whooping didn't do it. They didn't feel that they were worth your time, or worth their time, I should say. This is what happens when you talk that shit online to people in the FGC, and you're about to get your ass handed to you, and people like your friends had to step in for you, or former enemies had to step in for you and be like, nah, he's pathetic, don't even worry about it, he's not worth your time. That's what happens. So he talks about all these people online being cowards and being assholes and being shitheads and this, that, and the third, but look at him.
That's stupid? Yeah, you all must be, because that only kills me. All you're gonna do is make me completely be destroyed and never be able to make a video again that anyone would ever want to watch, because every time they search for DSP or DSP Gaming, they see, Phil insulted his viewer base, says they're lazy. Phil made a Nazi joke. Phil did this, Phil did that. And they see these, 30, 40 occurrences over an 8-year span that make me look nasty. And of course, this is how you don't play videos, rather than, oh, the 40,000 fucking great gameplay videos that I've put up on the internet, the hundreds of reviews that I've put up on the internet.
He doesn't see nothing. He doesn't see anything wrong with having 40,000 fucking videos on YouTube. Over 40,000 videos on one channel, really. Not even on YouTube. Altogether, he has something like close to like 80 something thousand videos. Something crazy like that, 70, 80,000, something nuts. And he doesn't see that as a problem at all.
So anyway, to conclude, thanks for listening. Had to get this off my chest. I apologize for being stupid and being human and saying dumb things every once in a while. Understand that's not the end-all be-all of who I am, okay? I would hope that at least there's enough intelligent people when you see something like that, you say, now wait a minute. Phil's been around for 8 years. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't just fucking say stuff like that all the time, and, I want to get to the bottom.
But you do say stuff like that all the time, and you've admitted to doing so. You even said that, oh, I've said something stupid this year. I said something stupid this year. I said something stupid this year. I said something stupid at that year. But I don't say it all the time. You say it often enough to where people can point it out. Is that not a problem?
And someone like Rich from Review Tech USA, right? He sees it and he's like, now wait a minute. Now Phil wouldn't just say this all the time and this is bad, and then he tweets about it, and that's good, but it's also bad, You got something to say, anyone, and I mean this, send me an email, darksydephil@hotmail.com. You can PM me on Twitter, which I think you can send PMs. I don't even know. There's multiple ways you can reach me without...
Wait, he wants you to send him a PM, but he doesn't know if you can send him a PM, so which means he'd probably never get it, because he wouldn't know where to look for it. Yet again, letting his ignorance get the best of him. Looks like a fucking bum. Now, keep in mind, this is 2016, ladies and gentlemen. He's still making $100,000 a year. How the fuck are you gonna walk around looking like a goddamn hermit?
Making shit public like that, you know what I mean?
Even then, saying that is insulting to hermits, because even hermits can present themselves.
Because all it's going to do is just incense more people, right? Because now, even though Rich is well-intentioned, I am very appreciative because he basically calls me out on me doing something really stupid. Okay, but then I look at, well, great, because now there's going to be 1,000 people who see that and hate me even more. That's just what I needed today when I wake up, right? Getting ready for my life.
You see the early, do you hear the early animosity brewing? It's already there. It's already there. He can't even hide it, really.
Yeah, wake up in the morning, get ready for my live stream, I look on Twitter, what the fuck? God damn it. Another day where I just want to fucking play games and have fun, I gotta deal with more of this fucking stupid drama, and it is what it is. It's life. That's the life of a YouTuber. At least that's been my life. I know a lot of YouTubers don't put up with this kind of shit. They don't have to. I do. That's been my life since I started on YouTube, and I guess it's gonna be till the day that I fucking stop. It is what it is. But anyway, I wanted to make this video. I'm not quitting Pokemon Moon. I don't think that my viewers are lazy. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. Yes, shortly, I'm probably not going to be live streaming as much anymore. In fact, today's probably the last stream of Pokemon Moon. And it is what it is. That's reality. Okay? And I apologize for being human and for showing that weakness, as often as I do. I try not to do it all the time, but yeah, it comes out. And I fuck up. And I hope that there are at least enough people who understand how life works to know that, wow, Phil made a mistake. Well, he'll come back from that mistake and he'll provide us now with months and months of entertaining content before hopefully he makes another stupid mistake. That's just life. I don't really have much else to say besides I'm sorry, you know, that I say stupid shit like that. And I'm glad that there are people who call me out on it fairly versus people who just make it seem like that's all I am on YouTube. Okay.
It is all you are, pretty much. And that's Drunken Phil, also known as also the Dark Geppetto face.
That's it, everyone. Thank you for listening. Right now, I probably have to call my parents. Shit, I just realized I have about half an hour to call my parents before my stream starts, and then I'm back to work. So
call your parents for a half hour, beg for money, say how these people are making you look bad, to guilt trip them to give you even more money. Wow, that's you're gonna compile a whole week's worth of conversation into a half hour, Phil? You must really love your parents. But then again, you are now talking about how concerned you are about your parents and them possibly catching the coronavirus. And even though you don't sound so concerned, let alone that you might actually sound hopeful, I don't want to go that far with it, but I don't know, Phil. I smell pig shit, and it's not exactly like your parents are beneficial to you at the moment, right, Phil? Might be time for you to cash out, right, Phil? Definitive sniff? Just saying.
Thanks.
That was good. That was good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to clean up, and then we'll reconvene for final thoughts. Sound good? Sound good.
Hey yo, I just want to say shout out to my red bike. It got stolen about a year ago, and I think about you every day. But you know, now I got a blue bike, and it's not the same, but it's a new life, a new journey. So rest in pedals, red bike, I love you. I like to bask in the tropics with a flask in my pocket. If you acting no brolic, I'll start laughing and mocking like a charismatic parrot that isn't comic. Now I'm feeling like the shit, cause I'm rapping with phonics. Loose off of Jan Ricky's, perusing Sin City.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I felt excuse me. I felt that it was important to go over that. Okay. Alright, so final thoughts. So that right there was essentially the Pokemon Moon calling our fan base lazy segment and whatnot. Another one of those gems out of 2016, sorry. An interesting year to be a fuck up. But the main reason why, and one of the main focusing points that I want you guys to grasp from all this, is that he never truly learned. He never got better. You know what I'm saying? He never even tried to. He just blamed it on everybody else. It was everybody else's fault for pointing out his fault and for making him look bad instead of actually correcting it where it matters himself. Didn't even want to try. You know what I mean? Didn't even want to try. And because of that, it's the reason why he's at where he's at now. And that's kind of the point of all this, is I'm going to slowly but surely peel the bacon off his goddamn back. And I'm going to show you guys why he is what he is. Because there are a decent amount of people who reach out to me and they're like, you know what, I don't know if Phil's really as bad as you say he is, man, and whatnot. And I'll tell you, as I tell them, if you don't feel that way, then you don't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? You're not obligated to, first off, I don't hate Phil, and I've said that plenty of times. Two, you're not obligated to hate Phil. You're not obligated to dislike him. You're not obligated to do anything. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you can click on the video, hate that shit, and click off if that's what you want to do. But you're not obligated to do anything. If you want proof, I can give you examples. I'm all about that life, but you're not obligated to do anything. And even with the examples that I give you, if they're not compelling enough for you, then they're not compelling enough for you. It is what it is. So don't feel like that has to be a thing in itself, because it don't. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. What you're hearing is my opinion. And that's all I've ever wanted to put out there, is my opinion. You don't owe me anything. So take that for what you will. But you know what I'm saying? All I'm going to do is I'm going to keep pointing out his mistakes no matter what. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. If it's not compelling enough for you, then fair enough. I can direct you to people who can give you a much more concise, a much more concise look into the pig roach. There are plenty of people. I can name a bunch of them. If you're on my main page, on the main front page of this, I have a bunch of them over here in this sidebar to your right. They're all right there. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of people I can raffle off to you. I can send you links. It's no problem. I usually do that. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have to, but don't hate him. Be better than him. That's the reality. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to hate Phil. Don't hate Phil, to be honest with you. Just be better than him. Learn from his mistakes, which is something that I try to point out. Make of it what you will. That's why I give you guys so many examples and all these references and shit. But like I said, make of it what you will. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But like I said, don't hate him, or don't hate him on my behalf. Don't hate him on the behalf of detractors. Don't do that. At the end of the day, all I'm doing is presenting you an argument. And you make of it what you will. If you're entertained by it, great. If you hate him, you hate him. Don't hate him. Because he don't hurt you. He don't hurt you. You know, he doesn't have an effect on your life in such and such way. But he does affect people's lives, which is one of the egregious aspects and one of the big problems I have with him. But don't hate him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what he wants. He didn't label himself King of Hate for no reason. He needs that shit. He needs that to thrive off of, because he has nothing else. He calls the rest of us losers, brain dead idiots, no lives and shit. But he's the one who thrives off this. He needs it. And when he don't get it, he gets in a real bad way. That's why he starts shit before his days off, and that's why when he's on his days off, he's thinking about this. When his wedding night was going on, instead of being up in Cat's dugout, he's thinking about Tevin. That's what he did on his wedding night. He was thinking about the detractors and Tevin. He wasn't in there doing his duty, which would be regulating that booty. He's sitting there thinking about the detractors. So who's living in whose head? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. This is DSP News 2nd Edition, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Take care of yourself, guys. Later.
Singing mood and drinking booze like a bomb. Someone stole my red bike, so I bought a blue one. I was sad, but fuck it, I got a new one. Chasing rum with the juice of a plum. In a singing mood and drinking booze like a bomb. Someone stole my red bike, so I bought a blue one. I was sad, but fuck it, I got a new one. I got a new thing, yeah. I hope that it's alright with you. With you, with you. I told my girl I got a new thing, yeah. I hope that this alright with you. With you, with you.